Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran and I'm here with Andrew Velez and Joel Dehls, and this is now episode 171. In this episode, we are going to pay tribute to Dwayne Haskins, updated news on the Flores lawsuit, Tom Brady to Miami rumors, Sam Darnold saying he has proved to be a good quarterback, and analyzing this year's tight end class, Travon Walker hype, and Kyle Hamilton's drop-off. A quick Patreon shout-out to Danko Hawkins, Corrupt, Matthew Jimenez, Travis Toomer, Drews the GOAT, Holmes, Nairi, your boy Nick, Pimp Chimpin, Jake the Snake, G Boog, Kobe, Dylan, Afosa, Mason, Rico the One, Gentile Drew, Cade MVP, Mark, SP4Z Shot, Jordan Watt, Evan, Dylan, Joel is the GOAT, Mayo, Andre, Matthew, Peter, Daniel, Ben, William, Ruthless Rooster, Sensei Stevie, Joel B, SA Crimes, Kevin S, Eagle Dollar, Tizzy, Corey, Get Funkoed, Dylan, Playboy Dom, Orlando, Big Chuck, Michael, Greg, Cole, Liam, T Grove 17, Tua Sucks on Ka, Ryan, Epic Lankiness, Aaron, It's Black Ace, Anthony, BJ, PJs, Langston, Jazzy Juice, Johannes, Ruben, Dave, Muffins, John, Sean, Burner Hoops, Court Cousins, P. Dot, George, Hikari, Mateen, and Jay Aqua.
Good old Jay Aqua, but let me tell you, this list is getting long.
Lengthy.
Long.
Girthy. It's a long list.
It's been that way for a while.
No. Today was especially long. I'm here like...
Right now we have 70 patrons along with 3
out, man.
YouTube
y'all,
members.
Shout out.
Love y'all, man. No idea.
Oh, just helmet.
We're going to get canceled now?
That's the most we could do.
We're going to get canceled now? Is that what this is now?
It might be.
We're screwed. We got to start over.
I don't think we have to.
No, you don't think so?
No, I really don't.
They don't have
So,
a clue.
Yesterday we all went to the Nets playing game, which was fun. There was Drew, you went,
Facts.
Joel, we all went. Me, I brought
Whole
my little
team.
cousin with me.
It was an absolute
Riv, Will,
John.
John came with us. Yeah, it was the entire team. You know, sadly we didn't get to see any of Pick a Side fam out there. We
That
put
is
out a
unfortunate.
tweet. Nobody
Didn't you have
replied to
someone
it,
come up to you?
unfortunately.
You did get recognized.
I didn't have somebody come up to me. I was at the concessions and somebody was like, "Hey, I see you on TikTok, bro." Like, and I was like, "Oh, for real?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yo, keep doing your thing, bro." I was like, "I appreciate
that's
it."
a
man.
major W.
Yeah, that is
That's
a
a
dub.
huge W.
That's a major dub. I wish I had his name. I would have shouted him out on the podcast.
But the game was great.
Yep.
It got great. It was ass.
I thought it was
but
going
then
to
it
be a
was
30
great.
piece at halftime because the
Darius
Cavs.
Garland, man.
Yeah, shout out
He
Garland.
said,
He
"Come on now.
backed
Let's
because
go."
the Cavs couldn't hit a shot to save their life.
It was sad.
For those that are like tuning in for basketball is coming Friday night.
Definitely.
The basketball episode coming Friday night. We have a special guest on that episode. Hopefully everything goes according to plan, and he will be a guest on the show. You guys will know who he is. It's a big time guest. We are very excited for that.
Super lit.
This has been a great month for us. We hit 17,000 subscribers. We've been
Going
gaining a couple hundred every other day. This is big time news for us. This is big time news for us.
It's great. Listen.
This is amazing.
This is what you ask for when you come into this, and to see the response that it's been. It's really a dream come true.
Yeah, and we saw your votes of what sport we should cover next between UFC, MLB, and even though it says on their WWE, like it's like WWE/AEW, like pro wrestling, like that umbrella.
Yeah.
We're not sure what we're gonna branch into yet, but the feedback is definitely helpful. Like, and I guess now the leading candidate is UFC, but before we would get into it, we would really have to do our homework and know what we're talking about before we get into a sport like that. That, you know, the bar for analyzing it is very high.
Definitely.
And we understand that, and we feel like when we talk about football and basketball, we hold ourselves to a standard. And I feel like with UFC would be the same thing. We'd hold ourselves to that same standard
Definitely.
of trying to cover it effectively. This is going to be a good show. Although football season is over, so there's not much things to talk about, and we're like right, you know, before we're heading to the draft. It is kind of the dead zone. I think after the draft is the dead zone too.
Most dead.
There's a dead zone too.
I don't think so. You
got
can
training
now
camp
analyze
or OTAs.
the teams now that they actually have the drafted player.
Yeah.
But fortunately for us, there have been some players to come out and, make some remarks, like Sam Darnold on Bussin' with the Boys with Taylor Lewan. He came out and made a remark that we're going to talk about. Baker Mayfield was recently on a podcast. It seems like these 2018 quarterbacks are just on a roll. Like,
Always
they're
got
just
something to
saying
say.
everything.
They need to stop talking into a microphone.
Where's
and go
Josh
to the
Rosen?
field?
Where's he at?
Josh
He's minding
Rosen,
his business somewhere, and you know what? I can at least respect that.
he learned his lesson on draft night. After that debacle, he learned his lesson.
I mean, what else? I don't mind the remarks that he made on draft night. If I'm getting drafted then a bunch of people are getting drafted ahead of me, and I'm supposed to be the number 2 pick overall, I'm talking spicy too.
Back it up, though.
Like, oh yeah, definitely. Mac Jones said something similar, and Mac Jones ended up playing very well.
I don't think Mac Jones, it wasn't as egregious.
No, well, it wasn't as stern. Josh Rosen came in, walked into the interview angry. Mac Jones was just like, "I'm happy to be here. Gonna prove a lot of people wrong." Something along those
I
lines.
like the attitude of my quarterback, though.
Josh
Or any player.
Exactly.
Josh Rosen said 10 teams made a mistake, or like 9 teams made a mistake. Because like 9 teams
I
made
don't
a
want to laugh
mistake.
at him. I don't want to laugh at him. But that is pretty funny.
Wasn't his best take.
No,
That's not his best
definitely
take.
not.
That was a bad take. That should go on freezing
He went
cold
to
takes.
UCLA also, right?
He did
Yeah.
go.
He
His
was
nickname
good
was
in
Chosen.
UCLA.
Chosen
Rosen.
Rosen. Yeah, Chosen Rosen.
Not so chosen.
I had
Your
a,
nickname's cooler than you are.
I knew somebody that was so high on Rosen on draft night, and during the entire draft process, he was like, "Chosen Rosen, Chosen Rosen."
Oh, you gotta call him out now. Who was it?
Well, no, his name is Chance. He's a Jaguars fan.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Say no more.
he's the one that trolls me on Twitter.
Chance the Man, right? Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, and I'm gonna give this shameless shout out to this guy on Twitter that annoyed the fuck out of me today.
I
While
saw that.
I
today.
was in an 8 a.m. class, for some reason, this guy had so much malice at 8 in the morning.
He did. That's crazy. He did.
For one, everybody knows I'm the Timberwolves guy. Like, there's no way around it. Like, I am.
And not just the Timberwolves, Minnesota as a whole.
You do.
I
Vikings
rep
too.
Minnesota, and as soon as I said they would beat Memphis, this guy's like, "Oh, this is not a hot take at all." He's like, "Oh, you are so late to the bandwagon. I'm the leader here. Oh, blah 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 blah." And I'm like, "Bro, like, do you know who I am? Like, do you know who I am? Like, do you know I rep
You want to ratio
Minnesota?"
him?
Yeah, and then he was like, "I was making Torian Prince threads in the summer," and I was like,
needs
"Who the fuck cares about Torian Prince?"
Sure.
Like, he definitely contributes to Minnesota, but it's D'Lo, Edwards, Cat, McDaniels,
Yep.
Vanderbilt,
Yep.
Pat Bev, Beasley,
Yep.
Nas
Nas
Reed
Reed,
is there. Like,
Jersey.
there's a lot of guys that come before Torian Prince when you name guys that are most important to Minnesota.
Did Torrent Prince even get any burn yesterday? Did he play, man?
He's dealing with an injury, but his burn throughout the season has been inconsistent for the most part. Even Jalen Noel, when he gets minutes, he's been awesome. Like, of course, when I think he called me out because I said I would trade D'Lo for Ben Simmons. And Ben Simmons at the time, like, there was reports that Minnesota was desperate for him.
And D'Lo really hadn't been playing up to the expectations since coming to Minnesota, but this season he's put all those.
It's
remarks
not. It's
to bed.
not even that though. Too.
He had a
It's,
great
it's
game
also.
yesterday.
It's also. I
Oh
think.
no, he was electric.
Freaked, yeah.
I
He's
still
electric.
think. Even though I love D'Lo, he is inconsistent. A Simmons, Edwards, and Cat trio, in my opinion, makes the playoffs as well. Like, we weren't expecting Simmons to sit out the entire year.
That's true.
But had he been healthy and he's in Minnesota instead of D'Lo, they still make the playoffs. It's not like D'Lo was like, "Oh, this is the reason why I made the playoffs." Like, it's a big reason why, but Ben Simmons would have made the playoffs with Minnesota too.
Yeah.
Like, they would have made the playoffs.
Probably, I probably do agree with that.
Simmons is healthy.
But I just think that
Defensively too.
the chemistry right now that they have is remarkable. I got to give him that credit, and the way that D'Lo can facilitate that
Is
offense.
Ben going to be asked to facilitate if he was on Minnesota? I mean,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah, no,
That's-
that- yeah, for
that's
sure.
What the issue is.
Yeah, with Cat, I think that would have been good.
I mean, then Carl Anthony Towns in a situation like last night, that's when you really need a player like D'Lo. Ben Simmons is not doing what D'Lo can do last night.
Yeah, that's true. Edwards did really well too.
No,
They both
Ant-Man was
went
great.
off.
Facts.
It's a great game.
All I'm saying is that Friday's episode,
It's gonna be lit.
a lot of
Facts,
hot
I know.
takes.
Yeah, a
A
lot.
lot of hot takes.
I tell you what,
You guys,
That Memphis
some of
one's
you are going to
crazy.
get. I know Drew's got my back. Some of you guys are going to get
on.
disrespectful when it comes to Boston.
See
the
us
2
rise.
seed, number 1.
You don't know what I'm
defensive
gonna
seed. I already know. You were talking
don't.
hot yesterday at the Nets game. We were at the Nets game, like you said. There was like 3 minutes left. They were saying, "I want Boston chance." They barely got past the Cavaliers. Like, it was a 6-point game with a few minutes left. They barely got past the Cavs. They stopped trying in a play-in game.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably because they wanted to play the Heat and not us.
Stop.
They were
talking.
I wouldn't disagree. I think the Heat, Matt. I think the Heat are an easier team than Boston
For sure.
Easily.
but I still think the Nets can beat both of you guys.
One's frauds, one's not.
They can beat both of you guys.
You're just such a casual, man.
That's a casual take.
It's a casual take. Been the best team in basketball for 2 months.
Talk to him.
Best defense in basketball. Defensive player of the year.
He's got to get his licks in. He's not in the basketball show.
Top 5
this.
MVP.
I mean, listen, this is just going in one
best
year
Robin in
and
the
going
league.
out the other.
Best Robin in the league.
Bro,
Talk.
come on, like,
Talk.
we got it. We got the
Yes,
role
he
players.
is. Yes,
Pritchard's
he
been
is.
balling. Derek
Come
White's
on.
been balling.
Yep.
Come on, man. But nah, yeah. Like,
I know
like
you
KD,
don't believe what you're
like
saying.
KD and Kyrie, I'm
Talk.
sure. Yeah, because Cleveland's so good.
You know, you do. I will give you credit. You do a great job at hiding how frightened you actually are of
I'm
the
not.
Nets in this matchup.
I think we win in 6.
I actually asked him privately. I'm like, yo, bro, keep it a stack. Are you worried about playing the Nets? Straight faced, no.
I've seen us literally be the best team in basketball. No Phoenix Suns, the best team in basketball for 2 months. How am I going to sit here and say I'm afraid of the Brooklyn
That's a
Nets?
fact.
Okay.
Like, I get Rob is out. And that
So
was
what
a big
happens in
impact.
game 1 when KD drops 40 and they win?
We're winning in 6.
Okay. I mean, I feel like
What happens when Tatum drops 40 and we win game 1?
although you have this poker face with Drew in private that you ask him that question, I sense energy.
I would rather play the Cavaliers without a doubt. I'm not. Why am I going to be worried about the Nets? I think we can win the championship. If we can't beat the Nets, we don't deserve to win a championship. The Nets are whatever team, bro.
I sense the energy.
The Nets are the most overrated 7th seed in NBA history. It might be the most overrated team ever, bro.
I mean, they're actually like a top 3 seed when KD is healthy. So
yeah, that's a big issue. KD has not been healthy for like 4 years.
He's healthy now, though.
Okay. Can
Kyrie
he stay healthy?
is too.
We kind of played last
Kyrie
night.
Kyrie
backpacked last night.
Yeah, so KD didn't even have his best game, and he still had a double-double.
They barely got past the Cavs.
Bruce Brown also had a borderline triple-double, which was insane. Drummond played great.
Seth Curry is really the only person who played like ass.
He had 0 points.
That's impressive. 34 minutes, 0
Rose
points.
just got
That's
a lot
crazy.
of cardio.
A ton of cardio.
It's not going to happen versus Boston.
Why? We have better defenders.
That's facts.
Seth, he's not going to miss like
Well,
I
no,
was
yes, he's not putting up 0 points. I get that. But we have better defenders. Kyrie's not
We'll
missing
see.
like 2 shots.
I mean, I haven't made my decision on my playoff picks yet. Some of them I have made, but for the most part, I'm watching the film. I'm going back in the lab. I'm studying. Tomorrow, I'm using the entire day for the most part to study.
Nice.
And to, make my picks. And
the
I'm
only
gonna be in
hard
the
one
lab.
for me now that Luka's out is the Utah-Dallas series. That's the only one that I'm really torn between, but other than that, I'm pretty good.
I guess we can start off the show by addressing something tragic that happened this past week. Dwayne Haskins passing. I think it caught all of us off guard. I remember where I was when it happened. It caught me by surprise. I believe he was struck by a vehicle on the highway, which is unfortunate. It's a sad story all around. And when it first happened, Adam Schefter initially tweeted out this tweet about Haskins and had mentioned his career struggles, and that received a lot of backlash, and deservedly so, because I feel like when somebody passes away, you kind of don't mention their profession. I think that's just like ethics and morals.
Correct.
Adam Schefter has had this kind of like track record these past couple of months of really not being on point with his journalistic integrity, and it definitely showed here. And I feel like it's an issue across media. This isn't just an isolated incident where most people in the media treat athletes as commodities and characters and not real life people. And that's why you see a lot of these mainstream sports shows nickname athletes and call them out and kind of, you can say in a sense, bully them with what they say on air. This Dwayne Haskins situation was tragic. I felt like this was the Adam Schefter thing was a microcosm of basically what's wrong with mainstream sports media for the most part and how we treat these athletes and these people. My heart goes out to his family and his wife or girlfriend, I believe, that he had. It sucks because as soon as he passed away, I went and the first thing I did was I went on his Instagram, and you can see on his story, he's with Najee Harris and they're just having a good time. They're just playing around, like playful banter back and forth. And he had been working out, and regardless of how his career has gone this far, you can tell that he was finally getting out of his own mind and not trying to live up to the expectation that other people have set for him, being that high of a pick and just kind of enjoying life. And I feel like in the NFL or any professional athlete, when things don't go your way all the time, especially in terms of your career, it's hard to get in your mind and get depressed over that because this is something you've been doing your entire life. And when things don't go your way, it is hard to get out of that mindset and kind of just say, I made it. Like, even though I'm not Tom Brady or I'm not one of the best quarterbacks, like, I made it, I'm comfortable, and I'm enjoying life. And in reality, that's what it is, because these guys get paid millions, even as backups, to play a sport. So I kind of feel bad for Dwayne Haskins. It felt like as soon as he was starting to make a turn, his life flashed before his eyes, and I think it's unfortunate, and it just goes to show how precious and short life is. I mean, he was 24, you know. Yeah. I'm about to turn 23, you know, so if somebody told me I only have like a year to live, it's
crazy.
Kind of a realization of how short life really is, and you never know when your last moment is, so you have to cherish it at all times. But this was definitely a sad and unfortunate event.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. And not only, you know, you mentioned about playing it all your life, but he was so great all of his life in high school and college too, right? And even, you know, he had his struggles in the NFL, but still being able to fight with it, because you're so used to being great everywhere you go. In high school, he was great coming out, went to Ohio State, was phenomenal there, top 15 pick. So you're just so used to dominating wherever you go. It really shows that even if you do struggle in the NFL, the fact that he's able to bounce back, land with the Steelers, looks like he was finally kind of getting on his own feet there and, you know, maybe get into a backup role or potentially, you know, have a backup career, which is phenomenal. You know, obviously not the first round pick, but still, if you're backup of the NFL, you're one of the best quarterbacks, you know, in the United States, even if you are a backup. So it just shows that even though he had some issues earlier on, like later on in his career, he started to mature, started to realize like, hey, maybe I'm not going to be, you know, that first round caliber franchise guy, but if I could fit in a role, help the team go and, you know, really get into my own. And as long as I'm being able to elevate people around me, that's kind of the mode he was getting. And it was tragic to see him pass. You know, 24 years old is so young, and to see all of the love that he got from Najee, TJ Watt, Chase Claypool, Mike Tomlin, just speaking on him, because we only get so much from these players, right? We hear the reports from different outlets and media people about Dwayne Haskins, and, you know, a lot of it, especially earlier on in his career, wasn't great. But then you see, you know, how much he's come around these last few seasons, especially since he's got to Pittsburgh. Seems like a whole different person than he was earlier in his career. And then going off the Schefter stuff, you know, it's not his first time. Schefter's, you know, really been dragged, I feel like, these last few months. I know he had the issue with the Deshaun Watson tweet saying, you know, basically saying like he always knew he was innocent or thought he was innocent. People gave him a lot of issues about that. And this Haskins tweet was completely, you know, out of line. It took him like, I think 2 days to come out and apologize. Like, that's something. Delete the tweet, or even want to keep it up and just be like, yo, I messed up. I shouldn't have said this. You got to think he's got friends, family. I'm not sure. He might have a kid. I'm not positive.
Yeah.
I think he has a
daughter.
Toddler. Yeah. He's really young. So like those are the people you got to think about before you tweet that out. And Adam Schefter, like, you've been in this business way too long to make that type of mistake. Like, we're all young. We don't have nearly the amount of followers Adam Schefter. I would not be tweeting that out. Like, maybe I'm just being naive here saying I wouldn't make that mistake, but I would have to look at that tweet and be like, this guy just tragically passed away. He has all these people counting on him, all these people rooting for him. Maybe I shouldn't talk about his struggles in the NFL, but rather how he was such a great, you know, boyfriend / husband, fiance, father, teammate, stuff like that, which is what they should be glorifying rather than his struggles in the NFL. But, you know, just to wrap it up, Haskins, I think one of the best moments I remember him was just like his last year in Ohio State. He went on a 3-game stretch where he was just putting up ridiculous numbers, which he was already a first-round talent, but that kind of put him in that top 15 range. I remember all of our Giants friends wanted to draft Dwayne Haskins, and they drafted Daniel Jones. Everyone's sick about it. Everyone wanted Dwayne just because at Ohio State, those last few games, he was putting up video game numbers, 500 yards, 4 touchdowns. Sad to see him go. It really seemed like you mentioned, like he was making a turn in his life. But, you know, unfortunately, tragic things happen, and it's sad to see.
That whole season at Ohio State, he was unbelievable. 50 touchdowns, under 10 interceptions. He was fantastic. To touch on the Adam Schefter part of the conversation, he knew what he tweeted out was wrong. For him to delete it almost immediately and then completely formulate a new tweet, to then apologize 2 days later, you knew something was wrong. You should have addressed it right away. Now, to Dwayne Haskins, my thoughts and prayers go out to his loved ones. It's tragic when something like this happens. But there's no reason why his name should be thrown in the mud anymore, right? We want to talk about what he did on the field and his career as a pro. The work ethic that he put to stay in the NFL alone deserves acknowledgement. You guys mentioned it. You guys said it perfectly. He showed maturity in his time as an NFL athlete. He got comfortable with his role. Who knows if he really could have come out this offseason and really competed for that starting job against Mitch Trubisky. It wasn't signed and sealed that Mitch was going to be the guy. Dwayne had made his presence felt in that locker room, and it was very evident that the guys around him really were building off that energy as well. You saw the impact it had on Chase Claypool. Chase Claypool felt vulnerable enough to put a video of himself hysterically crying. It shows the impact that Dwayne had on his teammates. My thoughts and prayers go out to Dwayne Haskins, and it really is sad news.
And it's easy to like look at it 20,000 feet above, but you also have to think like these people are human beings, right? Especially when you get into the league so young. It was probably 20, 21 years old, and you're given millions of dollars, and you're expected to be the face of a franchise, and now you have your family, friends, people you haven't talked to in years are coming after you, being like, yo, congrats, bro, you got all this money now. Like, people want things from you. So it's easy to sit here and just be like, he wasn't a good ball player, but when you take into account like what comes with it, what comes with getting drafted in the first round, all that responsibility, like that's just so much mental stuff that people don't think about that goes into it, that Dwayne and all of these players, like it's so easy to like bag on these guys, but you have to be really special to be able to just handle it and be able to take it all in and have all that responsibility on you, you know. And it took, like, Dwayne was a bit mature early on in his career, but as it goes on and, you know, as he had some more leaders around him and mentors, it seemed like, especially in Pittsburgh, he really found a home. So it's just super sad to see.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And on to more unfortunate news, Steve Wilkes and Ray Horton have joined Flores' lawsuit. And this all came from basically when talking about Ray Horton, he was given an interview with the Titans, and it was basically a sham interview. To sum it up, Mike Mularkey was on a podcast, and he basically said that, yeah, like, this has been bugging me. I still feel guilty about it to this day, that the Titans basically back in 2016 already said that I was going to be the head coach, but they still interviewed Ray Horton, and he had prepared for, like, he thought he had a real chance at the job, when in actuality, they already given it to Mike Mularkey. And I think that information alone validates Flores and what he's been saying. And then Steve Wilkes in his time in Arizona, it came out that he said that he wanted Josh Allen instead of Josh Rosen. It's easy to say that in hindsight. We don't really know, but for this case, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. And after one season, he gets fired, but the GM, Steve Keim, is still with Arizona. He got a contract extension even after a DUI. So they joined Brian Flores' lawsuit now. And so far, the Texans, Giants, Broncos, Dolphins, Cardinals, and Titans have all denied wrongdoings. But this is some damning evidence, especially this Mike Mularkey stuff.
Yeah.
Him basically
That's the nail in the coffin.
him saying the Titans told me I was getting this job and they still interviewed Ray Horton, I think was condemning and basically showed that, yeah, the Titans, this was malpractice.
So you already have Bill Belichick with the text messages between him and Brian Flores. If that wasn't already evidence enough of there's some type of malpractice going on, and now you have Mike Mularkey, who is coming out and openly saying that I was aware that I was going to be the head coach, sitting through the next two guys going to be interviewed, knowing that they had no chance. What more? Like, I'm sure that people are going to come out more and more as time goes on, but you have the most respected, most acknowledged head coach of all time in Bill Belichick having his text messages revealed to the world, and now you have Mike Mularkey coming out, and someone who was fortunate enough to become the head coach is saying that I was hired and am aware that this team only sat these guys through an interview for the rule. What more is there to be said? This is just glaring evidence in support of Brian Flores, Wilkes, and Horton's case. It should proceed very quickly from here on out.
Yeah, it's sad to say, like, I'm not surprised, right? At this point in the NFL, it's kind of like you see the same thing 1,000 times. Like at one point you're gonna be like, all right, this is kind of the norm in the NFL, and it's sad to see because they put this Rooney Rule into effect to give minority coaches a real chance to get these head coaching jobs. But it just gives GMs and owners in front offices the excuse saying like, hey, we interviewed the minority coach, we just didn't want him. But then this comes out where, well, we already had our head coach in mind. We knew we were going to hire this guy, but we just have to fill this rule. So we're going to tell him, come in for an interview, you have a chance. And it's not fair. It's not fair to the person interviewing it, saying, you actually have a chance, because they're going in preparing for days, I'm sure. This is their chance to finally be a head coach that I'm sure they've been dreaming of for years and years and years. So, yeah, the Ray Horton stuff is terrible. I was looking into the Steve Wilks stuff. It didn't look like he had as much evidence as Ray Horton, right? He got fired after one season. The Cardinals, the roster was terrible. Josh Rosen was a big bust. The roster wasn't good. GM got the DUI. Like, it was just a mess that season. They ended up getting Kyler Murray, which is going to change everything. Like, if Steve Wilks stayed the head coach and they got Kyler Murray, they would have been better than 3-13.
That's his whole claim.
So, like, having Josh Rosen as your quarterback, it was going to be a big negative towards you, which is probably the reason why he got fired. Like, they were a terrible team.
And another quick thing, too, he wanted Josh Allen. They weren't in a position to get Josh Allen regardless.
They wanted to trade up. He wanted to trade up.
I guess, but even still, that is so hindsight.
But, yeah, the one piece of proof you do have, though, is Steve Keim getting a DUI and still being the GM, just getting suspended for 5 weeks. Like, that's the one thing you could point to, being like, hey, this guy made a bigger mistake than me, disgraced the franchise, getting this DUI, pleading guilty, having all of these, unfortunate things happen to the franchise, and he gets spent for 5 weeks, get to keep his job. And Kyler Murray more or less saved his job, because Kyler Murray comes in, wins Rookie of the Year, turns into this top 10 quarterback. He's expected to be the franchise guy, and that really saves his job, goes out and trades for DeAndre Hopkins. Now he keeps it. But if he doesn't have the worst record in the NFL and they don't get Kyler, Steve Keim's also gone.
And John Robinson, who was the GM at the time for the Titans, is still the GM now. Like, he is still the GM, and he took part in these sham interviews as well. So I wonder how all that is going to unfold. This Brian Flores lawsuit put the nail in the coffin in a potential Tom Brady Miami Dolphins relationship. Stephen Ross had basically told Tom Brady, hey, I want you to come to Miami, be a minority owner. And Brady was thinking about coming out of retirement once he did that to then play for the Miami Dolphins. So my questions for you guys is that, one, are you buying this story? Are you buying these rumors? Are you buying that Tom Brady was supposed to be on the Dolphins? Because it makes a lot of sense, right? Because Brian Flores, Stephen Ross is trying to pressure him into recruiting Tom Brady.
Years before.
He mentioned this in the story. And the timetable of this is very damning.
Yeah.
This was a report by Ben Violin, who's a senior NFL writer for the Boston Globe. Brady retired February 1st, has a change of heart, and then he all of a sudden unretires. But it was mostly due to this collapsed Miami plan, and sources say he had walked away initially due to his relationship with Bruce Arians, and the source is Rich Ohnberger, who was close friends and former teammates with AQ Shipley, who's on the Bucs coaching staff, so he would have some inside information.
Teammates with Brady too.
Yeah.
Patriots.
Tom Brady, according to this source, felt that he and Byron Leftwich were undermined by Bruce Arians because they would work on an offensive game plan all week, and Bruce Arians would come in and want to switch things up or scrap it. And because of this, Brady wasn't feeling Bruce Arians. Stephen Ross allegedly offers him minority stake in the Dolphins. And, when you offer somebody a chance to own an NFL team, that's huge. That's generational money. So Tom Brady, that's you can't pass up
for sure
that opportunity at all. And there are some connections there because Stephen Ross has a business school named after him at Michigan, which is where Tom Brady attended college. So you're right, he's a big booster. And he was going to give Brady a front office position similar to what Derek Jeter has with the Miami Marlins, which is basically huge. And then the other rumor here was that Sean Payton was going to also join Tom Brady because he wanted to be with an offensive mind that he trusted. And the biggest thing in this is that this entire plan collapsed mostly due to Bill Belichick, mostly due to his text messages that he sent to Brian Flores that kind of turned into the spiral of Brian Flores saying, wait, no, like,
this can't be right.
Yeah, like this, they really shammed me now I'm going to file this lawsuit. Because had Brian Flores got a fair shot and is now the head coach of the Giants, this doesn't happen. We see Brady in Miami. Bill Belichick is probably like, now I got to face
Everything
Brady twice a year.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like, in my opinion, Bill Belichick knew this was going on.
Mastermind.
Put a nail in the coffin.
Jeez, this sounds crazy.
And
terrible, though, at the same time.
And was like, there's no way I'm facing Brady twice a year. And I feel like there's nothing more that Brady wanted than to face Belichick twice a year, beat him twice a year, especially the current state of the Patriots, and really give it to him for not believing in him the entire way. In my opinion, I think this story holds a lot of validity. I think there's truth to it. And, I mean, Miami, they do this in a heartbeat, right? I mean, forget about Tua. Just go.
The one thing is Brady is still under contract with the Bucs, so they would
have to trade for him.
And I'm assuming they would be waiting until, I think the report said they were expecting the Bucs to fulfill the quarterback, or was not fulfilled, but replace the quarterback, get someone else, whoever would have been traded for quarterback free agency. Or even like that. I mean, I think they were expecting the Bucs to sign someone or even draft and then trade for Brady, saying, hey, you got your quarterback. Now let's go and get Brady. Who knows if he would have sat out for a season or not. But I agree. I think the story definitely has some validity to it because Tom Brady's the most meticulous, detail-oriented guy maybe ever in sports. And it just seems so weird that he would plan this kind of weird retirement where it was announced before he announced it. Then he decides to unretire. And that's why we spoke last week where when Bruce Arians stepped down, I was wondering if there was some sort of tension there because if Brady doesn't want Bruce, there's, a reason why he wanted to retire. He didn't want to be the head coach. And there was one other thing they were said in that article is, remember, we saw Brady and Ronaldo talking at Man U. The Glazer family owns Man United. They also own Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he went, at least connecting the dots, he went to England, talked to the Glazer family, and I'm assuming one of the things he said to them was saying, I'd come back if Arians leaves or changes roles, because Bruce Arians is not a front office guy, right? He does not give me the vibe that he wants to be in the front office working some sort of 9 to 5. Like, he's a very passionate, on the field, hands-on type of guy, at least that the outside looking in. He always jokes about like having drinks and stuff. He doesn't really seem like the most buttoned up type of person you expect in the front office. So, and especially when you bring in the whole Byron Leftwich thing, how he felt undermined. So it kind of is adding up now where Brady does or did seem to have some issues with Bruce Arians, and at least we're expecting him to get along better with Todd Bowles, who has more of, the mental makeup that Brady has. But I think the story has some validity to it. And for the Dolphins, it would make sense. I know you're a huge Tua fan, but if you could get Brady in there and you do, who knows if they ended up trading for Tyreek Hill, the whole team changes. You become a Super Bowl contender overnight with Tom Brady. So it makes sense on that front too.
First, I want to address the whole idea that Bill Belichick's like the mastermind of this whole idea. Because originally it was an accident that Bill Belichick had texted Brian Flores.
Was it though?
So now there's this idea that it wasn't an accident. And now this also upsets me because either way you shake it, Brian Flores is still getting smacked in the face. Because now there's agendas involved. And there's more at play than just Brian Flores. I would rather it be the accident. Brian Flores finds out that way. But now if Bill's going out of his way to actively try and mess up a whole situation and indirectly help Brian Flores by still being a sneaky, conniving type of individual, that just doesn't sit right with me. But to address the whole situation as is, the validity sounds like it's pretty sound. You have Ross, has ties with Michigan. Brady's a Michigan dude. The one thing I will say is the whole idea of the trading for him to sit a season, to come back and then play a season after.
No, he wouldn't. Wait, what did he sat a season?
Who knows?
I don't know. There's just,
he could have come back immediately
if they traded for him. Yeah.
But another thing, like, yes, there's a lot of reasons why this story could be valid. But in Tom Brady's sense, why leave a situation that is better than Miami? Right? Essentially, you're moving across towns to come play for a team that does not have nearly the success that you had with Tampa Bay. Obviously, Tom Brady's a huge factor in their success. But talent-wise, at least coming into last season or going into this season, you're looking at it completely different now that Tyreek's here. But if you're trading for Tom Brady, that's a first and multiple firsts potentially that could be gone in the trade with Tom Brady. You're not getting Tyreek Hill.
I think the only
Tyreek
reason
Hill doesn't matter. I'll be honest.
I think the only reason.
So just Waddle. Waddle, maybe they keep Devontae Parker.
Tom Brady can get it done with Waddle, Devontae Parker, and Gesicki.
The difference is
They would still get Travon Armstead.
Waddle would be fantastic for sure. But I'm looking in the sense of he had Godwin, he had Mike Evans, he had Rob Gronkowski, Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones.
Yeah, but then you look at what he's at in New
That
England.
offensive line's fantastic. He would still be behind a terrible offensive line. Now it's revamped. Travon Armstead, maybe he still comes to town, but now they're taking on Brady's contract.
$15 million a year cap hit.
Just $15 million.
It would have been 15. Yeah.
The only reason I think Brady does it is because he gets the chance to be a minority owner.
That's the big thing behind it.
Which is, like you mentioned,
You can't turn it
generational
down.
wealth.
You can't turn it down
For sure.
Well, I also
But the
think
bigger thing really is the Bill Belichick. If you really think that that's true, Bill Belichick's terrible. He's horrible.
I think that you're looking at the lens through the Buccaneers and what he had there. But for the majority of his time in New England, I mean, what he was going to have in Miami with Gesicki, Waddle, and Parker is much better than what he had in New England.
His last years, I guess.
And he was going to have a good to great defense with the Dolphins as well.
That's true.
I think Travon Armstead still goes there.
Probably.
Good chance.
And then, Sean Payne comes to town, which is what was going to happen if Brady went to Miami. Yeah, you're looking at a great team, a contending team.
But they still take the Bills over them.
That's closer than you think.
I still would take Buffalo.
That's closer than you think, though. It's not set and sealed.
I mean, listen, I'm already teetering between Miami and Buffalo as is right now. But you get Tom Brady, we really could talk.
I still think Buffalo would have got them.
Maybe, but it's Brady, and you see what he did with the Buccaneers these past 2 seasons.
Yeah. Oh, listen, they didn't have anyone like the Buffalo Bills in their division. Not close.
I feel like also Brady.
But the big picture really was the playoffs, and they played against every top team, and they fared pretty well.
They did, for sure.
I feel like also Brady being in Tampa, now being accustomed to Florida, like I would love to be in Miami. I would love to play there.
But he's already in Florida. The really
he's
only
like
difference is a
44-year-old. He's got a
Tampa
wife,
is different
kids.
than Miami, though.
But I feel like Tampa is much more of the laid back. Miami is for like the 20-year-olds who go on spring break and act crazy. Tampa's like that retirement type vibe,
Yeah, I feel you. That definitely has some merit to it.
Like Miami just gives you 305. Like
of course.
I feel like it would have been weird seeing Tom Brady in a Dolphins
it would have
uniform,
been
though.
so weird. It's like Ed Reed in Jets uniform. Just like what's happening?
I know what you're saying.
Some weird ones like that.
When Tom Brady first went to Tampa Bay, a lot of people would put up these comparisons like to other quarterbacks and how Joe Montana is known for San Francisco. Joe Montana going from San Fran to KC was like Brady going from New England to Tampa Bay. Mm-hmm. But I actually said no, it's not like that. Because Tom Brady going from New England to Tampa Bay was more like Kurt Warner going from the Rams to the Cardinals.
But he still went to the Giants in between then.
You forget about that, though.
Just pretend that doesn't exist.
You forget about that, though.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
But why, though?
Because Tom Brady, for one, he still had a lot left in the tank.
I feel like Peyton Manning was a greater
It's not like
comparison.
Brady was washed.
That's why I say it's similar to Peyton.
Well, it's similar to Peyton Manning as well. I can see that, too. That definitely, that's one and the same. Mm-hmm. But also Peyton Manning played how many years in Denver? 5?
From 2011, I want to say, to 2012, 2016. So 5 years, yes.
5 years, yeah. Like Brady played, this is going to be his 3rd year now in Tampa. So that's why I say more like Kurt Warner, because he didn't have that long of a stint in Arizona. But the Peyton Manning one is good too. Yeah. That's a good comparison.
Yeah, both
especially because we're talking about you were great in Indianapolis, you were great in Denver, you were great in New England, you're great in Tampa Bay. You're probably going to get your number retired there as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's their best quarterback in franchise history.
Ever.
They had
and he
Jeff
did that
Garcia.
in 2 seasons.
What about Josh Freeman?
Josh Freeman, bro. He had one great season.
He wore one of the cooler jerseys.
He did.
He should have been good. If he was on the Jets, we would have won a Super Bowl.
Oh my God.
Josh Freeman, bro, instead of Mark Sanchez.
He go to Florida State?
Listen, you talk like Mark Sanchez could have been your franchise guy, so.
He could have been. We just didn't surround him with help, bro.
What do you mean?
We had Clyde Gates as our best receiver.
Braylon Edwards, Santonio Holmes.
Later. I was going to say 2011 on, sure. All right, not even 2012.
2011,
really,
our best guy was Santonio Holmes. Santonio Holmes was never a number 1 receiver.
He was
we
legit.
had him and Braylon.
Yeah, that's
we had
what I'm
Plaxico.
saying.
Like
Plaxico was pretty good.
Santonio Holmes was a solid receiver, but he was never a 1.
Yeah, he was past his prime.
Even in Pittsburgh, it was Hines Ward.
He was past his prime, but still,
he had a great playoff run
for sure. He was
not just the Arizona Cardinals game.
but he wasn't a number one.
We also had the best offensive line 2 years in a row.
Correct.
Yeah, but
there's a reason why LT and
the
Green
best and
were
one of the
unbelievable.
best defenses multiple years in a row.
Yeah,
He had
but
plenty
also
of help.
we had Brian
Plenty.
Schottenheimer, bro.
We went to back-to-back AFC
Like, imagine if
championships
we
game.
had an actual
Mark Sanchez
good
wasn't
OC.
that good, dude.
Mark Sanchez was limited.
Bro, he could have been a great quarterback under
Great?
the right
I
circumstances.
don't think he would have been a great quarterback.
And then I get slack for saying Tua can
I
be
think
great.
what he did is like his
Tua will
ceiling.
never accomplish anything near what Mark Sanchez accomplished. He will never win 4
underwhelming in the
playoff
playoffs
games.
and going to he got
He
carried.
was 4-2.
Yeah,
He had
I
some good
understand.
games.
Mark Sanchez did
We
not
had a
get
great
carried.
roster, without a doubt.
Sanchez did not get carried in the playoffs. He was big time.
Against
He
the
made,
He
some,
Colts.
was
he made some
big
really
time.
good. He made some really good plays in both runs.
Whatever.
Santonio Holmes had one 1,000-yard season. That was with Pittsburgh, and then with the Jets, he didn't have one 1,000-yard season
Well, it's because look who was his quarterback.
because it's because he's
If he
Santonio
didn't do it
Holmes
with
was
Ben in
always
prime
mid.
Ben,
I mean, he did.
he had one.
One time,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
How many years was he there
he
for?
was
At least
he was
4.
there for 4 years.
They had some guys there.
They
They
did.
have some guys there for sure. Could have been.
Santonio Holmes, man, freaking! I can't believe he was our best receiver. That sucks.
Braylon was really
that
good.
wasn't what our team was based on. It was
No, it
defense
wasn't.
and running
I'm
the
talking
ball.
about 2011, bro.
I apologize.
Even still, that's what we're
Because that's when
expecting.
Sanchez started to drop off because the help
the help dropped
dropped off
Yep.
significantly.
Yeah, everyone got old. The old line.
Man.
Yeah. Glory
That
days.
offensive line was crazy.
The glory days,
Bro,
man.
Nick Mangold,
5 Hall of
DeBrickashaw,
Famers.
DeBrickashaw, Burke,
no
Ferguson,
funny,
Damian
yeah.
Woody, Brandon Moore. Who was our right tackle? I forgot. I feel like there was only one position on our offensive line that was like the weak spot.
Nah, Brandon Moore's guard.
You said DeBrickashaw already?
DeBrickashaw,
Yeah.
Mangold, Woody.
Brandon Moore. Yeah. Who was our right tackle? Why do I think?
I can't think off the top of my head.
Vladimir Dukas.
Definitely wasn't Dukas.
Hold on, let me check. I'm on it right now. So
met Nick
okay,
Mangold once.
it was
You
DeBrickashaw,
met him?
Ferguson.
That's Sky Zone.
Tough.
Yeah.
Okay, so DeBrickashaw, Ferguson, left tackle.
Scott, also at Sky Zone.
Matt Slauson, left guard. Nick Mangold, center. Brandon Moore, right guard, and Damian Woody, right tackle. Yeah, so that was our. And then 2009 was DeBrickashaw, Ferguson, Allen Faneca.
Faneca. Yeah.
Faneca, Nick Mangold, Brandon Moore, and Damian Woody. Damn, our
that was
offensive line stacked,
those are literally
bro.
5 Hall of Famers.
Yo, Thomas Jones, the Jets legend.
Thomas Jones is definitely a Jet legend.
Jet legend.
Without a
Thomas
doubt.
Jones is amazing, bro. He's so
He
good.
was great.
Yo, the Jets, man. We're on a come up, man.
Glory days.
We're on a come
I'm
up.
reminiscing.
One day.
12 years. God,
That could be
Mark
long.
Sanchez, unfortunately, goes down with the other Jets quarterbacks that didn't pan out. And we're about to talk about one that didn't, and that's Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold recently went on Taylor Lewan's podcast, Busting with the Boys, and he said, I know I'm a good quarterback. I've proved it. And he says, you know, whatever happens, happens. He has that type of attitude at this point. I think he has to at this point. I don't think Darnold is totally wrong. He's not wrong. He has proved he's a good quarterback. And I know that everybody is giving him backlash on social media, but he has proved he's a good quarterback for him to think that way. I mean, you look back his rookie year versus Green Bay. He threw for 341 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, and went toe-to-toe with Aaron Rodgers. Look at his second season versus Washington. He had 293 yards, 4 touchdowns. And then his first 3 weeks in Carolina, 9 total touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and Carolina was 3-0.
We're
Sam Darnold has shown he can be a good quarterback in flashes.
I was gonna say,
Has he done it throughout an entire season? No,
Hell
but
no.
for him to the way he said he thinks this. He knows he's a good quarterback. He's proved it. I don't disagree with that statement because in his mind and in his experience, he has had moments where he's proved I can do this. So that's why I don't totally disregard this statement.
You could say every quarterback has proven it. Then almost every
I was literally gonna
quarterback
say,
has
then
shown
Daniel
flashes.
Jones is cash, right?
Well, I think if you would ask Daniel Jones if he thinks
I'm
he's a good
asking you.
quarterback,
Yeah,
I don't
of
think
course
he's a good
Darnold's gonna
quarterback.
say that.
I don't think Darnold's a good quarterback, but I'm just saying I can understand why he thinks he proved he can be a good quarterback.
Interesting wording.
Because, for example,
Interesting.
if if you play any sport, right, you may not be a scorer, but what if one game I have 20 points? You know, I proved I can score that now. Like I proved I can do that.
Austin
have
Reeves
to
had
do-
a 30-point triple-double,
He
right?
proved he can do it. So all I have to do is prove that I can do it again. Sam Darnold is stuck right now in proving that he can do it consistently.
He can't.
But has he proved that he can do it? He has proved he can do it. Has he proved he can do it consistently? He hasn't. But I understand why he says it. I understand it.
I think he's saying that because he has to say that. What is he expected to say?
I think he
I'm a
believes
dog
it.
shit quarterback.
Yeah.
You can't say it.
I think he believes that, though.
Well, he should. If you're an NFL quarterback,
He believes that.
number 3
because
overall
he even
pick,
said
you
to
should
Taylor one, he
believe
said
that.
he was like, "You're gonna laugh when I say this, but I like this how I feel."
Because he knows it sounds ridiculous.
And he didn't even list himself as like one of the top 5 USC quarterbacks. Also,
He's just a humble guy, man.
Do you know who he had on his list?
he had Palmer, Leinart. He had Sanchez in there.
Barkley, I believe.
He did have Barkley at 3.
He had somebody else that was like, I forgot their name.
Barkley was crazy. Barkley would have been the number 1 overall pick. He came out his junior year. He came back his senior season, screwed it all
off
up.
the top of my head.
You got 4.
Number 5,
Impressive.
facts.
I'm not going to ask you to look it up.
Thanks.
It was somebody that I
You know
don't
I'm
even
not
know.
going to
I
be good
forgot
at
the
it
name.
either way. But regardless of that fact, let's be completely frank for a second. The answer is no. He's not proven that he's a good quarterback because what takes to be a good quarterback is consistent level of play at being good. He's yet to do that. The best we saw him was his second year in New York, and that season even still was disappointing because he missed the first month because he had mono. He comes back and he has some really good moments. I think the one that stands out specifically to me is that game against the Cowboys where he had that bomb touchdown to Robbie Anderson. You guys ended up finishing the season 500 or one game over 500?
7-9.
7, excuse me, I apologize. Yes.
And Mike Greenberg after that game said that Sam Darnold was better than Dak Prescott.
Which is obviously insane, but maybe if Darnold no, it's insane.
That's crazy.
If Darnold doesn't miss the first month, some games go the Jets' way instead of the other. Who knows?
I don't think
Such
so.
a Jets
But I'm
thing to
saying,
have
right,
a
I don't
quarterback
think so.
gets mono.
I'm just saying.
The reason-
Give me one sec.
the reason
I'm
I
just
say
saying.
that-
Let's just live in this world, right? Let's say this first month, Darnold really is because he came back and he was good. He was good. I'll give him. He wasn't anything more than that. But let's say he played good that first month of the season. Who knows what happens? Now, in the grand scheme of things, ever since that season, he's been a complete disappointment, and that's just the truth of the matter. Now, in Carolina, he had a great start. I'll give him that.
He had
that
a 3-game
leeway.
stretch where he was
He had
really
a
good.
3-game stretch of being borderline, really, really good, and was horrible the rest of the season. There's no way that I could sit here and say that I can deem him anywhere near the word good when he's yet to show me consistently that he can keep that level of play.
His numbers after those first 3 games, he had 182 yards per game on 5.4 yards per attempt, 6 passing touchdowns to 12 interceptions.
It's a bad offensive game plan. That's what that sounds like to me.
Since when are you a Sam Darnold defender?
This is what I want to say. You mentioned, Drew, the point about Sam Darnold, his second season. For one, I remember that season vividly. Sam Darnold missing the first month was the best thing to happen to him because our schedule was brutal.
Not really.
Our schedule was brutal. Yes,
to a degree. You lost to the Bills.
They were great.
16-17.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm just looking at it right now.
So that was the game he played.
The Browns.
He played against the Bills though.
Really?
Yeah, he did.
So he got hurt. He was
No,
mono from weeks 2 to week 5.
Yep.
All right. So the Browns.
They were good.
23 to 3.
Well, they were supposed to be good.
New England 30-14.
Yeah, New England was nice.
That's New England. And then Philadelphia 61.
Philadelphia was nice that year.
31-6. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say like they're nice, but like compared to the Jets,
They're playoff
roster,
teams. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this kind of had me thinking because we have.
And also, Sam Darnold lost to the Jaguars and the Bengals that year.
Yeah.
When we were going on the second half of the year,
unacceptable.
I mean, the Bengals
That was
were
their first win.
winless.
Yeah, it was their first
the Bengals were winless, and the Jaguars
We got him back
were
this
one
year.
of the worst teams.
Got him back this year.
Darnold did
Yeah, we
play.
did.
But this had me thinking because we always have like these thoughts about is this situation, is it the player? And we're kind of having these thoughts now with Daniel Jones, right? Is he going to turn into something? But if you go through the top 10 quarterbacks, top 12 quarterbacks in the league, they were good right away, or they were good year 2. Rodgers, different situation because he sat, but he was phenomenal his first year. Brady was phenomenal, Super Bowl champ, Pro Bowl. Mahomes, Herbert. Josh Allen is the anomaly there where it took him year 3 to be good. But then Kyler Murray was great year 1. Lamar Jackson, his first 4 games, he was solid. Year 2, unanimous MVP. Matt Stafford, he took a little bit of time too. It wasn't until year 3. He was hurt year 2 to his credit. I think he only played 3 games. Burrow was great year 1. Russell Wilson was great year 1. Deshaun Watson was great year 1. So I know we have all these talks about is the situation, is the players, the coaching, is the pieces around him. But the top quarterbacks in the league were really good, really quick. And then on the other side, if you look about the quarterbacks who have busted over these last few years, I think I went back since like 2016 or so. The guys who have struggled, Sam Darnold, he's not good. Daniel Jones, the verdict's still out, but I'm out on him. Dwayne Haskins struggled. He never turned into a franchise guy. Josh Rosen, we know what happened to him. Drew Lock, Geno, Paxton Lynch, Hackenberg. Wentz and Baker are kind of the only two in there that are still like 50-50. Some people believe in them, some people don't.
Goff?
But
are you throwing him in that category?
Goff is in that category too. But for the most part, what you are those first 2 seasons is probably what you're going to be the rest of your career.
So the biggest anomaly is Josh Allen.
Yes.
That's the only one that you can look at.
And Stafford, but Stafford was hurt year 2.
But his first season being healthy, he was fantastic.
Yeah, year 3. Well, his rookie season, he wasn't great. But year 3, he was amazing. He had, I think, 40 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think he had 5K.
So what are you telling me? You're telling me Zach Wilson's not going to be good?
So I'm saying is, at least by year 2, and you can make the argument, if you're not great year 1, all of these quarterbacks in the top 10 outside of Josh Allen showed year 1 they could be special. Now, I'm not saying I'm out on Zach Wilson or Trevor Lawrence, but if they don't show, like, because it's been different. We've had this rule where we have to wait 3 years for a quarterback, 4 years for a quarterback. No, that's not true. If you're not good,
Josh Allen's the only reason why that exists.
He's the only reason, but you have it's such a low probability still. If you're looking at
Ryan Tannehill.
But he was decent in Miami.
But even still, exactly, he was decent
Kirk
in Miami,
Cousins.
and he's decent. He was good in Washington when he started.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was, bro. He was really
Kirk
good in
Cousins
Washington.
was an interception machine his first couple of seasons, bro.
He put up good numbers in Washington,
He did.
without a doubt.
He did not.
He did.
He did, bro.
His first season?
Not first, maybe at least second. That's why it's 2 years now. You get 2. If you're not good by the end of your second year, you're done. It's a different NFL where you don't get to sit for a season. I mean, it happens every once in a while, I guess, but for the majority of the time, you're going out and you're playing pretty early.
Kirk Cousins, 4 touchdowns, 3 picks, 4 touchdowns, 7 picks, 10 touchdowns, 9 picks, then 29 touchdowns, 11 picks.
What was his first year starting?
10 touchdowns, 9 picks,
No,
2014.
not starting. He wasn't
Give me like
starting.
10 games started or something because
No,
he sat behind
his
RG3.
first season starting completely 29-11.
Okay.
Yeah, but he had 3 years to like
I
sit
know,
and
yes,
learn.
that's a different situation because it took him some time to get in. Same thing with Aaron
Because
Rodgers.
RG3 was
And he was the
ahead
number
of
2
him.
overall pick. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're starting right away, and even if you're not starting right away, if it takes you that first season, if you're not good right away, like it sounds crazy, but if you're not good right away, look at the top 10 quarterbacks. They were all great almost immediately. So the whole you have to wait multiple seasons, see what happens, it's not really true. If you're not good by year 2, you could cut bait on a quarterback. That's why going on to year 4 with Daniel Jones, they're different situation. They're rebuilding. They got Tyrod to bring in now, but that's why I don't believe in him because it's year 4 now. Like if I haven't seen it now, I'm probably not going to see
We're
it.
talking about Sam Darnold, though.
I know, but he falls in the same category where everyone was wondering, oh, was it the Jets, this terrible
What he's saying holds
organization,
true.
Adam Gase, this terrible roster. He goes to Carolina with a much better roster. The offensive line isn't great, but the roster is better, at least offensively for sure. And he's still proven that he's still a turnover machine who's not accurate.
I mean, I was never high on Sam Darnold.
Never. Come on.
you just defended
Stop it. No. He's saying that jokingly.
I didn't defend him. I'm saying I can understand why he says he believes that he's proven he's a good quarterback because he has proven it in
singular moments.
In stints,
Maybe.
he's proven it. In stints, in little droplets, he's proven it.
You could say, yeah.
That's true. But I'm looking at the glass half full, not half empty. And I'm taking
Am I being a
Sam
pessimist?
Darnold's word. No, you're not being pessimistic. What I'm just saying is that I can understand
What is
why
Sam
Sam
Darnold
says this.
ranking in the NFL right now?
Look, this is
He's
what I'm
the
going to say.
28?
That's the 30th best quarterback.
What do I believe? You guys haven't asked me that once.
No, that's exactly what I did.
We
I
did
said, what do
ask.
you think?
What I believe, I
You
think
haven't asked me that once.
Sam Darnold
You're ridiculous.
is one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL currently. He's been the least efficient non-rookie quarterback when trailing since 2019. It's been Sam Darnold. Between 2019 and 2021, Darnold has 37 interceptions and 24 fumbles in 36 games.
That's nuts.
That is ridiculous.
It's like 2 a game.
3 of his first 4 seasons, Darnold has failed to complete 60% of his passes and 9 touchdowns. He's only had 9 passing touchdowns these past 2 seasons in each season, and 12 and 11 games played. So he doesn't even average a passing touchdown a game. I don't think Sam Darnold is good. And when he went to Carolina, I said he wasn't going to be good. They talked about him making the Ryan Tannehill type of leap. Well, I never saw it. And I even said it back then that he's not going to do it because Ryan Tannehill was good. He was a good quarterback. Same with Mitch Trubisky. Like Mitch Trubisky, what he's going to do in Pittsburgh, he's going to be good. I believe that. Sam Darnold, though, I was never in on him when he went to Carolina. But like I said, I can understand why he said this, because he has proven in moments that he's a good quarterback. And when you, as an individual, do something once, you believe you can do it again, even though you don't do it.
Argument stinks.
No, it doesn't.
I get what your whole point is here. Yes, you prove it once.
Have
you
ever done something that you've done it? You probably know you're not good at it, but you're like, I can do it again because I've done it.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm horrible at soccer. I've played really, really good defense. I'm not claiming that I'm good at soccer. I'm not doing that. Are you claiming
you're a good defender because you singled out defense?
Yeah, because that's really all I can do. I can't dribble. I can't shoot. I can't pass. But I can play defense.
Would you say that
I'm not good?
Would you say that you've proven you're a good defender?
No.
Hell no.
No
way. It's different for a professional athlete in his sport, though. I expect Darnold to say that.
No, listen, I'm fine with him saying it because you need confidence. That's one of the main things that goes into being a professional.
He's fighting for his NFL career.
However, now as we analyze the statement, it's egregiously incorrect. That's it.
Agreed.
Did you listen to what he said about the fans?
No, I can't remember off the top of my head.
I actually watched the entire interview, and no, I'm lying. I skipped to the part where they got past USC and just about the NFL.
That was interesting talk to USC.
He basically said that he hates when fans criticize. He hates when fans criticize because he's like, strap it up. Like, strap it up, man. Like, you do it. And he's like, I don't go to a construction worker and say, hey, that tiling or the house you built sucks and stuff. And it had me thinking. And I was like, well, regular people get told they suck at their jobs every day. It isn't just professional athletes that get told they suck.
That's what Baker said too. In his, we're getting to Baker a little bit later, but he said that I would love to show up to somebody's cubicle and just boo the shit out of them and watch them crumble. But he's replaceable. At the end of the day, you're replaceable. If you're not great, you're replaceable.
Bro, literally modern jobs in America, and we live in America, so I guess I can make this analysis. But jobs in America make you feel replaceable, especially me at this age. I've worked multiple jobs. I worked at UPS. I worked as a delivery driver. I worked at jobs that I know are replaceable jobs. And I mean, people don't criticize you on a grand scale because nobody cares. But you are a professional athlete. Of course, you're going to get more scrutiny or more attention on you because
even we get scrutinized.
That's how much you have. That's the fan base.
Go look at our TikTok comments, bro. We get scrutinized to hell.
Yeah, we watch more film than they ever will in their entire lives, and they're calling us casuals. Yeah, that's just how it goes.
It's just how people all have opinions, and most of the time they suck.
That's the thing though about Sam Darnold though, is that I don't know why athletes say that oh, I would love to go to somebody's job and just boo the shit out of them. Bro, it's not. I don't know why athletes feel like they're the only ones being singled out when it comes to criticism. Everybody gets criticized at any job you are at. Unless you're at the top of the top at your field or your job, everybody at every job they have deals with the boss, deals with coworkers, deals with people that criticize them, deals with people that work in customer service, deal with shitty attitudes all day. It's not just professional athletes who have it bad and oh my God, you're getting random people on Twitter calling you out. You must have this horrible
social media. If you have any sort of following, you're going to get criticized. No matter what you tweet out, people are going to come and say oh, you're an idiot, you're dumb, you don't know what you're talking about. It's just what social media is. I get what Darnold's saying, it sucks, but it's just kind of something you have to be all right, who does John Smith 87643? What the hell does he know?
Yeah.
With no avatar.
With no Avi, he doesn't know
I
shit.
understand what he's saying. It does suck, but I don't agree with this statement or a lot of athletes' statement and acting like it only happens to them.
Yeah, people shit on LeBron. People shit on Brady.
It's on a more global scale.
Yeah, you're right. That's why. It just happens to them. It's more apparent.
Correct. So
but just because it's more apparent doesn't mean it only happens to them.
Because if Darnold I don't even know if he has a Twitter, but he tweets something out, I imagine 80% of his replies are people just shitting on him. There's not a doubt in my mind.
The $20 million a year shouldn't make that feel a little bit more at ease.
I would be fine,
right? If you're fine, if I'm getting $20 million, I promise you, I'm reading these any hate comment towards me, I'm chuckling.
I mean, Sam said he doesn't even read anything.
Real, and that's real.
He doesn't read anything,
which is why he has this confidence, and I can respect that. But a little bit of.
I'm not getting paid $20 million. I saw 50 people call me a moron for saying the Bengals weren't going to make the Super Bowl or whatever. They got lucky. I don't care, bro. Like, call me an idiot.
Yeah.
If I would have said last season the Bengals are going to the Super Bowl, I would have been destroyed on social media. Everyone would have said I have no idea what I'm talking about. People would say get him off the show, and I would have been right.
Yeah.
That's why you don't know shit.
Yeah,
no one
true.
does.
So I decided to look up the list for Sam Darnold's top 5 USC quarterbacks just because. So it was Palmer, it was Matt Leinart, Mark Sanchez, Barkley, and Rodney Peete. You know who that is? So Rodney Peete finished second in Heisman voting in 1988, was a 6th round, 141st overall pick. But he was pretty damn good in USC.
I totally forgot about Matt Leinart.
Yeah, Leinart was the first name that came to mind. Him and Vince Young.
No, Leinart 100%. He ended up getting the Heisman because Reggie Bush had his stripped. And that's ridiculous in and of itself, but that's a whole other conversation.
Leinart was disgusting at USC.
Bro,
He was good. He should have been a good. What's wrong with USC quarterbacks that they just don't pan out, bro?
Carson Palmer. He wasn't bad.
That was the only one though.
He was good. No, it wasn't. He was good.
Yeah, for sure, without a doubt.
Really good.
He was the only one though.
He had great moments.
Carson Palmer.
Yeah.
No, he was the only one that was.
Oh,
good
yeah,
in the
yeah.
NFL. Everybody else wasn't.
Yeah, but I mean, there was only 2 other first round picks.
Matt Barkley, Mark Sanchez.
But Barkley
Sam
was
Darnold.
like 5th round.
Matt
pick.
Barkley wasn't a first round pick. I'm just saying like Matt Leinart, Matt Barkley, Sam Darnold. They all didn't pan out.
Leinart was first rounder, right? And Darnold. Those were the only 2 first rounds that didn't pan out. And then Palmer did.
Off the top of my head, was the 10th overall pick.
Yeah.
And he didn't get a chance because of Kurt Warner. He came.
It was Arizona, right?
Mm-hmm.
Facts.
Yeah.
Listen, that helps. That helps some quarterbacks.
You know that Sam Darnold used to play linebacker.
Yeah.
In high school.
That's pretty crazy.
Yep.
Didn't know that.
Yep.
I was a Sam Darnold.
Tell you what,
fan
I'm very excited to talk about this next topic.
Deebo Samuel.
Correct.
So Deebo Samuel, the reason why I talked about Darnold being linebacker is because Deebo Samuel said he wants to be the highest non-paid quarterback in the NFL. And in your opinion, do you think that he's deserved it up to this point to be the highest non-paid quarterback in the NFL, to get this Tyreek Hill level money, Devontae Adams level money? He is a wide back. He does everything. He's
tough for that.
Very.
Their entire offense was Deebo Samuel. Running game, wide receiver. This guy put his body on the line. So what do you think? Does he deserve to be the highest paid non-cute quarterback?
No. And I am acknowledging that Deebo Samuel is one of the best talents we have in the NFL, without a doubt. But we saw that on display one season. One season of him being an elite level talent. You showing me one season of elite play is not warranted to be the highest paid player in football. Now, his rookie season, he was solid for sure. He put up just under, I want to say, 800 flat. 3 touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns, so 6 total. Next season was plagued with injuries. The hamstring really got him. But the following season after that, which was this past season, he was all world. 1,400 receiving, over 300 rushing, 8 rushing touchdowns, 14 total touchdowns. He was a freak of nature. But I can't look at one season and automatically say you deserve to be paid more than Tyreek Hill, who has done it for 4 or 5 seasons of being a top 5 receiver. I can't see you being paid higher than DeAndre Hopkins, who's had a laundry list of seasons of being, at worst, the top 2 receiver in the NFL. Devontae Adams, another player who has been the best wide receiver over these past couple of seasons, who's just been as consistent as it gets at the wide receiver position for years on years. These guys earned their money. Yes, Deebo Samuel has earned a paycheck, but there's no way after one season he deserves to be the highest paid player, especially when we've seen a player like Christian McCaffrey have one of the greatest statistical seasons we've seen from a skill position player. Over 1,000 rushing, over 1,000 receiving, was unbelievable in 2020, I believe, or 2019, excuse me. And they gave him this money, and now in hindsight, we look at it, and I'm sure the Panthers wish they didn't be so quick-triggered to give him that money. It was one unbelievable season, and even to CMC's credit, at least he had been a 1,000-yard rusher the season prior. Deebo Samuel's situation, never been a 1,000-yard receiver, really didn't enforce his will as a runner until this past season. He showed his electricity this past season, and I think he deserves a contract, but there's no way I can sit here and say he deserves to be over Tyreek, over Devontae, over DeAndre Hopkins. There's no way.
You might have a different opinion than me.
There's a lot of risk involved with Deebo Samuel because you're right. His second season, he got hurt. I mean, he's only been in the NFL for 3 years. His rookie season was really good. He was really good. Second season, he got hurt. Third season, he has a breakout season that I predicted was going to happen. See, all this that I disagree with you on this point. Talking about he didn't solidify himself as a runner. Maybe the stats say that. But when you watch Deebo his first 2 seasons, you knew he was capable of it.
He was.
Before the season, I was telling you the reason why I take Deebo over a guy like DK was because I can line him up in a slot outside as a running back. He is dangerous with the ball in his hands. This is the first season that Kyle Shanahan actually was like, okay, Deebo, you're going to be a running back too. We're going to line you up out back in the backfield. And then he shined. I had no doubt that was going to happen.
Him be a running back.
I had no doubt.
This
that,
level,
I had no doubt that he can do it.
Listen,
I had no doubt that he could do it.
You get your credit for saying that Deebo Samuel was going to break out and be an unbelievable
I had no
receiver.
doubt that he can do that. I had no doubt.
You saw him being a running back.
I saw that, yeah.
I'm sorry, man.
I saw
you saw him inventing a new position.
A wide back?
Yeah.
Yes. Deebo is that special.
Come on, Joel.
Deebo Samuel is that special. Does he deserve to be the highest paid non-quarterback? There's a lot of guys in front of him that I would put over him in terms of getting paid. But by all means, if the 49ers don't want to do it, trade him to the Jets. It's as simple as that. I will make him the highest paid non-quarterback. I will. If I'm Joe Douglas, I will do it.
You give him 30?
I will do it.
30.
I will do it.
Insane.
I will do it in a heartbeat.
You cannot.
In a heartbeat.
It depends on the situation.
In a heartbeat.
No way. There's no situation right now that you can pay him 30.
You could pay him $30 million if you have a quarterback on a rookie deal, like the Jets and like the 49ers are expecting to do with Trey Lance. That's where it makes sense because I agree. And you just listed off wide receivers, but if you want to talk about Donald, TJ Watt, like Jalen Ramsey, the list goes on and on about guys that should be paid more than Deebo.
There is no non-quarterback that should be paid higher than Aaron Donald. It's that simple. There's no way that you can validate that type of point.
Yeah, Myles Garrett too, Teron Armstead, even though he didn't get it back. Trent
Williams. These are all great guys. We're talking about Aaron Donald, who has been arguably the best player in football.
Yeah.
Not being
I think it's 5 straight years he's been the highest PFF rated player.
He's shown dominance that we haven't seen since Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, wide receiver is the second most important position right now in football, though.
Probably.
I agree with that, though.
Yeah.
I do agree with that. But even
still,
he
should be paid more than Jalen Ramsey.
Okay, I'm fine with that. More than Jalen Ramsey is tough for me to sit with because in my opinion, do I agree with the statement that wide receivers are the second most important? I could side with that. Like I see the point.
Yeah.
But I look at corners and the difficulty that they are put through with all the new rules and regulations put in place.
If wide receivers are second most important, you need a guy that could cover the second most important position.
That's why I think that I have quarterback number 1, I have corner number 2, and then I have receiver number 3.
I don't know.
If you are an elite corner and you can I'm taking a Revis before I'm taking a Devontae Adams. Because I know that I don't have to worry about a specific side of the field because I have that on lock. I can take away your best receiver because I have the best shutdown corner in the game.
Well, Devontae Adams isn't on Revis' level.
I'm just going by the best receiver to the best corner. I'm just speaking
Calvin.
Are you taking Randy Moss or are you taking
Calvin or Darrell? Oof. That is a great conversation to have. That's a great conversation.
I can't say.
I have to take Calvin.
My choice would be Calvin.
Calvin Johnson would cook Darrell.
Calvin's my second favorite player of all time.
He held him.
Calvin's number
2. Yeah, he did him. It was okay. Yeah. But I know if they match up, like if they had multiple matchups, I think
Calvin's going to get his. It's like
he's 6'6", bro.
It's like having, like we were talking about the Nets and Celtics. Like I know KD's going to give me 30. Like I know Calvin's going to put up 100 most games. You're not going to stop him.
With the rules put in place, it's very hard for a corner to completely shut down a receiver.
It doesn't happen.
If Jalen was in the era where he was in between, like even Revis's era to a degree, Charles Woodson's era, his numbers would be insane because now he's able to be a little more physical. You look at Jalen and you see a physical specimen. For him to still be as shut down as he is in 2022's NFL rules and regulations for a corner is amazing to see. But that's why I can understand the argument of wide receiver is more important because you're going to have a guy like Jamar. Exactly. You're going to have a guy like Jamar that's going to be able to break off a big play inevitably because he can just get past you because Jalen's not allowed to grab.
And you're also throwing
Jerry
it 40
Rice
times.
or Deion Sanders?
Deion was clamps, man. But the thing is, Jerry, there was a point where you could say that he was the best football player of all time because of longevity.
Oh,
the fact that he was in his 40s, putting up over 1,000-yard receiving seasons, that is just something that we're never going to see ever again.
Even in his prime, though, without the longevity, he was known as...
We're talking about the best receiver of all time, Jerry Rice, yes. Yeah. But Deion, for what he did, every team he went to, he had success.
To go real quick, get back to the Deebo topic, it makes sense for the Niners to pay him because, like you mentioned, he was their entire offense last season. I don't want to say entire because Elijah Mitchell was phenomenal. Their offensive line was great.
George Kittle,
Brandon Ayuk.
He was their entire offense, but he was the one you're game planning for the most.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why it makes sense for the Niners, especially when you have a creative head coach like Shanahan. That's why I would love him to come to the Jets with LaFleur. I saw what he did with Braxton Berrios. Do that times 10 with Deebo Samuel. Yeah. So when you have the ability to...
Braxton,
they're going to say Deebo. Come on. When you have the chance to not pay a quarterback, you could overpay at other positions, especially premium positions like wide receiver. And that's why we're going to see so many receivers taken high in this draft because we see how much they're getting paid. They're getting paid. Someone tweeted at me asking me about like, oh, what do you think of like the new, like how wide receivers are getting paid? And I was like, it's scaling. Quarterbacks used to get paid $30 million. Now your new contracts, you're getting paid $45 million. Receivers used to get paid $15 to $20 million. Now they're getting $30 million. So it's just scaling up. So we see all these crazy numbers and we're like, how are you going to give them $30 million? Just look where the cap's going. Look at what quarterbacks are getting paid. And it makes sense why receivers are making that much money too.
Deebo deleted everything 49ers related from his Instagram.
I hate this new trend.
I mean, I think the reason you might hate it, but the only reason you might hate it, but the only reason it happens is because that's the only real leverage these players have in negotiations.
Social media?
Taking to social media and making it known that they are unhappy with their situation by deleting posts.
And you saw what Shanahan said. But is that anyone could be traded for the right price?
That's what Joe Douglas' motto is, though.
And I'll tell you what,
it is.
I respect him for that.
I don't think you would say that about Zach.
No. But I'll say this.
You can't say that about your quarterback in general.
I'm blanking off. You said something that sparked the thought, but we changed topics, so I forgot.
About Deebo deleting stuff on his Instagram?
Lost it.
Gen Z?
Nope, lost it. It's all right.
If I'm the Jets, I'm getting Deebo easily. I will pay him that money. I don't care if it's just 1 year of elite production. I know what he's capable of. If we have Deebo with Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, with CJ Uzomah, Tyler Conklin, like come on, bro, come on. Zach is having a Pro Bowl level season. There's no doubt. Oh, also, by the way, I ordered us Zach Wilson is good t-shirts.
Tough. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's hard.
I ordered them. I don't know when they're coming. It said it already shipped. So by next football show, it should be here.
Let's go.
Zach Wilson is good. Yeah.
We're in that as hell.
I can't wait.
I need the Braxton Berrios is good shirt.
Facts. You are Braxton Berrios' #1 fan. I'm not going to lie.
Braxton Berrios.
There's actually someone on Twitter who was tweeting at the Jets, I think for 47 straight days about re-signing Braxton Berrios. So she might have you beat. But you might be number 2.
I'll take it.
Also, I feel like another reason Deebo should be demanding this type of money is because right now he's currently 20th in 49ers payroll. And I mean, he's literally playing 2 positions. And
should he be higher paid than Nick Bosa?
Yes.
You're saying that confidently?
Yes.
I don't know, man.
Nick Bosa is elite, but he also has an injury history too.
So is Deebo.
I know. I would just...
Nick came in and the defense changed immediately.
As a fan, I'm looking at Deebo and I'm like, I just want to watch that more.
So,
of course.
So I remember what my point was initially when we were talking about players and their leverage. It's not always been beneficial for them to do the whole, I'm going to sit out, I'm showing you that I'm visibly unhappy. Le'Veon Bell was the #1 running back in the NFL, sits out a whole season, becomes irrelevant.
But he got paid, though.
No, you get your money for sure.
He's different because he was towards the end of the running back prime.
To a degree.
He was 25, 26.
He's still young.
But running backs fall off at 27.
Not all of them.
Majority, of course, yes. But majority of running backs fall at 27.
Le'Veon Bell, who was still the best.
He also screwed up because he went to the Jets with the worst offensive line, Adam Gase.
Correct.
And also, I will say that...
For sure.
You get your money, which I guess it's a bonus, and that's the whole big thing. But in my eyes, as someone who cares about your production, of course, you care about your money, you care about your financial stability, your family. I respect that 100%. But you had a chance to be one of the best, and you squandered it.
The reason why Le'Veon Bell looks bad in hindsight is because he turned down a bigger contract from the Steelers.
That's true. He wanted 14-5. I think
Yeah,
he turned down
the Steelers basically offered him the same amount of money.
14-2.
And then he was like, no, I'm
2-5.
going to sit out the season. And then got the same amount of money. He declined from the Jets.
I remember the moment he signed with the Jets. I got the sleeper
I was
alert.
so happy, bro.
Bro, I tweaked.
You traded
You know what's crazy though?
Yeah, I did. I started screaming.
Even though I tweaked when it happened, I actually made a video that now is privated on my YouTube channel, but I made a video about why Le'Veon Bell wasn't going to be good with the Jets. I was like, he wasn't going to be good with the Jets.
Because your team could not help him.
Because of our offensive line. And because Le'Veon Bell sat out and James Conner had a breakout year.
James Conner was amazing that year.
He was mad good. Well, that offensive line was fantastic.
And that was the beginning of showing that it's the offensive line, not the running back, that truly matters.
But not always. But in that specific situation where Le'Veon's play style was that patient,
90% of the time it's that way.
But his running style was so unique, and he executed so fantastically.
He was
you
so
had
talented.
to give him that respect. And as a receiver, come
go for
on, he was insane. He had one of the best hands as a running back we've ever seen.
What would you do with Saquon? Similar guy who has won I guess he has more, but he had all these injury problems, right? He hasn't shown consistent production. You're a big Saquon guy. That's why I'm asking you, because they're kind of different boats, because Deebo just put up a top 5 receiver season.
The thing is, you can't give Saquon top dollar. I think you can give Deebo top dollar, but he should not be the highest paid player.
You give him top dollar because he's a receiver.
Yeah, fine.
That's why.
That's fine. I agree with that. But the thing is, Saquon's game is also diverse, where he has great hands for a running back.
Sure.
And even still, he is the most explosive, when healthy, running back there is.
But he is not a receiver.
And
he's more explosive than JT.
Yeah.
It's been like 3 years since
It
I've
has
seen
been.
that.
It has been.
I'll take JT.
Fair, right? I get it.
It's unfortunate what happened to Saquon.
No, it actually breaks my heart. I could cry right now on air thinking about it.
It just helps my running backs don't matter agenda. But
Yeah, so JT would be
great
irrelevant,
man.
bro.
He's a great man. I love JT.
Oh, I believe you.
I also recognize that
Derrick Henry doesn't matter.
he matters to an extent, but not too
He's
much.
the most important player on Tennessee.
They didn't drop off with Deontay Foreman, though.
I would say he lost him for 8 games. They were the 1 seed.
Interesting.
And Deontay Foreman put up big numbers,
And
too.
Derrick Henry's had how many phenomenal seasons, and they've really, I guess, went to AFC.
And who was the best player for them?
Henry.
Okay.
But this past season proved otherwise.
In the playoffs, running backs could be the most impactful player on an offense. And they could lead to the offense ultimately winning the Super Bowl.
Maybe.
Leonard Fournette.
Brady didn't help.
I'm not saying that he didn't. I'm just saying Leonard Fournette was huge.
I know,
in the
but if they have
playoffs.
Jameis, are they getting there?
No, no way. But I'm just speaking, just going through history, right? You had Fournette.
I wouldn't rule it
was
out.
Fantastic.
Oh, bro.
That's hilarious. C.J. Anderson for the Broncos.
Defense is great.
I'm not saying that it wasn't, but for our offense, you still had to put up points. C.J.
Yeah, but
Anderson
barely
was
did.
amazing. Had over 100 yards in the Super Bowl.
That was a rough Super Bowl.
It was.
It was one of the uglier ones.
It was.
23-16?
24-14.
It's about situations. It's what it's really about.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. But I'm just saying.
Don't be too quick.
Correct.
When I see a running back take a team to the Super Bowl, I'll shut up.
I mean,
I'm asking for the world, but that's what I'm saying. It doesn't have.
Well, it's going to
as much
happen
weight.
this year.
Oh, Michael Carter. Facts. Let's go.
No, that's not what I was going to say.
JT.
You hate Michael Carter.
I don't care.
Your Matt
anymore.
Ryan agenda, bro? No.
Actually, yeah, JT.
That's why,
it
thank
could
you.
be. But it would be more because of
Is it
Matt Ryan, though.
There it is. We almost called him damn.
That's why I said,
Damn.
yeah.
You know what's the thing is that you're going to be so surprised when Paris Campbell has a breakout year.
Oh, my God.
Matt Ryan's going to make him
What's a breakout
nice.
year for Paris Campbell?
600 yards.
Sean Alexander,
How many years ago? 20?
2007, right?
2006.
Okay, 15 years
2007.
ago.
But I mean, regardless of that,
It's a whole different NFL. Entirely different NFL.
Yes.
Yeah, if you want to go back in the day, for sure. Yeah, you got it.
I went to 2007.
15 years ago.
I understand that, but it's
You
not
were
like
8 years old.
I didn't say Walter Payton. I didn't say Emmitt Smith. I didn't say any of these crazy names. I said Sean Alexander in 2007.
Todd Gurley.
Todd Gurley got hurt, and that's a tragedy. It's a
But
tragedy.
they were the number 1 offense.
They were, but it was
and Jared Goff was ridiculous.
He was ridiculous, but even still, you still had C.J. Anderson come in and be fantastic.
Which just shows that you could replace Todd Gurley.
But you still have the running back be important to the
Yeah,
offense.
well, in Sean McVay's system, the running back is very important. That's how his scheme is built. It's based off play action and zone
and
running.
they did nothing in the Super Bowl.
I'm not saying it's not important. I'm rather saying it's replaceable. probably the most replaceable position. If Todd Gurley, who was the best running back in football that year, could come out and C.J. Anderson could come in, Deontay Foreman this season with Derrick Henry.
So what about Carolina though? When they had the two-headed monster, Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams,
when Cam was MVP,
but like they didn't have a great passing offense.
Cam Newton was MVP.
Yeah, but because of the running game though.
Kelvin Benjamin was great. Greg Olsen.
Kelvin Benjamin.
He missed that season.
He missed that entire season.
He missed that season.
Greg Olsen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Devin Funches was actually.
Yeah. Cam was MVP.
He had 35 passing touchdowns. Cam. He had 50 total.
No, I know, but the running game is what got them.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but Cam was still great. 35 touchdowns passing.
But I'm just saying.
It's a reason why it was one and never happened again. Like they had one great season.
San Francisco, they just went against KC.
Raheem Mostert.
Mostert was great.
That's a fact.
They lost.
They lost, but you didn't say that. We're talking about just.
And you know why they lost? Because Jimmy G couldn't complete a long pass for a touchdown.
No, they lost because the defense couldn't hold Mahomes on a third and long.
No, but also Jimmy G had a wide open touchdown that he missed.
No,
Another thing that gets slept on: Damian Williams could have been Super Bowl MVP.
For KC,
yes.
You're saying he had a great game.
No, you're not. I'm not saying you're
Sony
wrong.
Michel could have been Super Bowl MVP. They gave it to Julian Edelman.
That's your boy.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad. Julian Edelman put up a great game.
He did.
Sony Michel, you could have argued he could have won it as well.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that.
Oh my God.
I'm just saying that it wasn't just because Jimmy G was bad that the Niners lost. Like they blew a lead and defense has.
No, they did. But they had the chance to win the game and take it right back.
100%.
Fell on the quarterback.
But I'm just saying.
It's because when you have to go downfield in that 2 minutes to make that game-winning drive, it's the quarterback. It's not the running back.
You're right.
Marshawn Lynch, Super Bowl against the Pats. He basically did everything for them. He had a 40-yard catch. Yes. He had a 40-yard catch that drive.
He's pretty good that year.
Not saying that he's not, but Marshawn Lynch was all-world and would have been the Super Bowl MVP had they have won.
I'm not saying that you have to be bad.
Usually show up in those playoffs.
I'm not saying you have to have a scrub at running back and you're going to the Super Bowl.
I'm just saying we've seen running backs be unbelievably important to a roster.
Yeah,
when it comes to winning.
We've seen the unbelievably good running backs go out, replacement level backup guys come in, and nothing changes.
Nothing changes. That's not necessarily
We just saw with Deontay Foreman. Derrick Henry, the best running back in football, was out for 8 weeks.
We're
and they were
talking about
the
regular season, right? Derrick Henry did it in the postseason, and it led to winning. They lost to the Chiefs because, one, the Chiefs were crazy, and their defense blew it. And Derrick Henry didn't have a great game, and him not having a great game impacted the offense to not be great.
But you're probably taking like 13 quarterbacks before you take Derrick Henry.
I guess we're talking about the most important position in the game, though.
That's fair. But you're probably taking 15 receivers before Derrick Henry.
That I don't know if that's necessarily true.
Maybe 15 strong, 10.
Yes. Even still, am I taking Mike Evans or Derrick Henry?
Godwin or Derrick Henry?
You said a really good name, and I still would take Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I would take Derrick Henry too. Yeah, you bugged out.
You said a good name because you know I like Godwin. I like his play.
It depends on obviously because at the end of the day, it's the quarterback is going to
make
or break the receiver.
Are you taking JT? You're taking Godwin.
That's why because I first said quarterback and you argued receiver.
No, which is fine. I'm fine with the receiver conversation now.
If you're taking average the quarterback, I'll take Godwin.
No.
Assuming Godwin's healthy.
Yeah, okay,
sure,
fine.
I'll take Godwin
over JT.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Because JT, you can't forget that he can also catch passes.
Oh, for sure he can. I've seen it many times.
Derrick Henry can also catch passes. This
was his first year, but yeah, he always could. They just didn't utilize him.
Correct.
But my overstating point of all of this is that the running back position is incredibly replaceable, and that's why I would not spend premium draft capital or pay them top dollar.
How are you backing out on Mike Carter just that easily, dude?
I love Mike Carter. But that's what I love, a 4th-round pick, and look what Mike Carter does. He came in, and he was automatically our best running back.
So you wouldn't pay him $8 million a year?
If I have Zach paying him nothing, sure. But $8 million a year is different. You're probably the 12th highest paid running back.
No, I'm playing. I mean, I do agree with you. Running backs are replaceable.
I don't necessarily disagree because go through history. Yes, there's been moments.
No, they are replaceable.
And it's also usually a lot of these teams that go to the Super Bowl on high-powered offenses, which is why the running backs are successful.
I'm saying I don't disagree with your point. However, we can't just gloss over running backs like they don't have a direct impact on winning at times.
Nah, I do know what you're saying, but a lot of the time when's the time that there was a bad or average quarterback and the running back really carried them? You could say the Niners, but their defense was phenomenal.
But the thing about that, I don't like that argument because football is not a sport that's like that. when's the last time you've seen a team make the Super Bowl that doesn't at least have a top 15 rushing offense?
Top 15 rushing offense?
Like Bengals, Joe Mixon just had 1,000 yards rushing.
Mixon was phenomenal.
That's a good point.
Well, top 15.
A team
that
makes a run that far has to have a balanced attack.
Top 15 is not that impressive.
Top 15, I think, is impressive. It is impressive.
I don't know. Like, if you're the 13th best rushing attack, like, you're probably a pass-heavy offense still.
You're right, but 13th is still pretty high.
It's good, but I mean,
that means you're an efficient running.
If you were to say like top 5 or top 7, then we probably could have an argument.
But that's the thing. I feel like that's more top 15. What he's saying, which is pretty lenient.
If 15's average,
yes, it's lenient.
Like if you have you're gonna have it. But most of the time, you go in the Super Bowl, you're gonna have a pretty damn good team. So you probably have a pretty decent running back.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna happen.
Yeah, you just have an all-around team. I mean, we haven't. What you're saying, we haven't seen a quarterback just carry an entire roster Super Bowl.
I don't know if that's necessarily true.
Maybe not the Super Bowl.
Brady?
He didn't carry nothing.
Against the Eagles that year with the Eagles?
That was a pretty bad team.
You're right, but like Brady for the most part didn't carry. He's always had top 10 defenses.
But that year the defense wasn't great.
Seahawks had some bad teams that Russ has carried to playoffs and playoff
to the playoffs,
wins.
not the Super Bowl. We're talking about the Super Bowl.
I'm just speaking out loud. Relax.
Yeah, I mean you were trying to single out running backs because they didn't make it to the Super Bowl.
I know.
Quarterbacks are the same way.
I'll say this:
like Phillip Rivers never carried the team to the Super Bowl.
Payton's 55 touchdown season. Yes, we look at Demaryius, we look at Eric Decker, we look at the squad that they had. Payton was the reason they were as great as they were. That defense was not that great. Payton carried them to the Super Bowl
the year before.
Correct.
You guys won a playoff game. That was it.
Correct.
You're just extremely limited.
Correct. Payton didn't carry that team, bro. That team was an all-around offensive juggernaut.
Because of Peyton Manning.
But Peyton unlocked it.
But because they had a lot of weapons too, though.
Peyton unlocked it.
Well, yeah, he's a great quarterback. But, I mean, they had a lot of weapons. Not just great. They had a lot of weapons.
That wasn't enough respect for you.
Especially when he's saying that he didn't carry them when he 100% did. He made Demaryius Thomas, God rest his soul, a top 3 receiver in the NFL after being fringe, I'm being generous, top 15.
You act like that's bad, though.
I'm being generous, too. Like, let's be real. With Tebow, was anyone even considering him a top 20 option?
What was his numbers this year before?
In 2012, he had 1,400 yards and 10 touchdowns.
That's with Peyton.
Yeah.
That was his first year with Peyton.
What was he in 2011? What was his numbers?
In 2011, 551 yards. He played 11 games, though.
Okay, so then go look at Eric Decker.
You're probably adding a couple hundred yards. So he's gonna have under 1,000.
Again, I was being generous.
Eric Decker had 612 yards, 8 touchdowns.
They were a very rush-heavy offense with Tebow,
no
obviously.
doubt. Willie McGahee, legend.
They didn't have a quarterback to pass.
But Willie McGahee actually was the guy in 2011. No, Sean. Shout out to him.
We saw Eric Decker play well after Payne, though, too.
For sure.
No doubt. Yeah. No doubt. Eric Decker was, like I said, with Tebow, Eric Decker was better than Demaryius Thomas. Payton came in and took Demaryius to heights that no one saw.
But then Demaryius also had 1,000 yards with Trevor Siemian.
Because Demaryius was already solidified by then.
I know. I'm just saying. I feel like he would have still been a great receiver.
It
was his third year.
Again, he had Peyton Manning. It only was going to benefit you.
Like, for example, like I feel like we're looking at the numbers too heavily here.
I'm not even looking at numbers, right? I'm just going off the top of my head.
We just called him out though. Like, for example,
I said that he's Demaryius Thomas. He was going to be good once he was done with Peyton.
For example, though, Jerry Jeudy doesn't have the numbers to solidify to basically meet the case that of being a great receiver that you think he is.
Correct.
Even though you think he's a great receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Russell Wilson is probably going to make sure that Jerry Jeudy has a breakout season.
For sure.
At least that's what we're expecting.
And I'm going to say Russell Wilson bless Jerry Jeudy.
And although you're going to say that, we still acknowledge he was probably a good receiver before that.
He was a talented receiver before that.
Yeah, but just needed a quarterback that can throw.
In the NFL,
but all you're telling me is that he just has a quarterback that can throw catchable passes. Because Drew Lock has one of the most uncatchable throwing rates.
I'm not disagreeing by any means.
So if I put Jerry Jeudy with like a Matthew Stafford, Like he does this, he probably puts up great numbers.
For sure.
If I put him with a Matt Ryan, he puts
But
up
again,
great
we're
numbers.
talking about the most important position in the quarterback.
You're just having such a huge upgrade from Drew Lock to Russell Wilson.
Of course.
So you're gonna
Yeah,
see
like
the
Drew Lock
numbers
is what, like
affected.
a bottom 40
And even
quarterback?
still, Jerry Jeudy put up 800 receiving yards his rookie season with Drew Lock. All right, so it's
impressive.
already is there. But even still, I'm acknowledging that Russell's going to take him to even better heights.
Like Judy can probably get 1,000 yards with Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Ryan Fitzpatrick is a very good answer because Ryan Fitzpatrick will blindly throw the ball to
Look
his
at
best
Brandon
receiver.
Marshall. Brandon
Eric
Marshall had
Decker.
one of his best
I
years
love
ever.
Fitzpatrick's game.
Yeah, just not in Miami.
Oh, no way.
The play-in is currently going on, and which means the NBA playoffs is now coming soon, which we're excited about this Saturday. It's going to be great.
And you know what that means.
And get ready for all the action by betting
Amen.
on the play-in tournament with
Amen.
DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers can bet $5 on any team to win and get $150 in free bets instantly. You clinch a win no matter what. All DraftKings Sportsbook customers can also bet on NBA hoops with same-game parlays. Combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. The more legs you add, the more money you can win. Plus, for each day of the play-in, get a risk-free bet up to $10 if your same-game parlay doesn't hit. Download DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TBPN. Bet $5 on any NBA team to win their game during the NBA play-in tournament and get $100 and $150 in free bets instantly. That's promo code TBPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Talking about the play-in, what's the current score of the game?
I'll let you know right now.
You're on the ESPN.
And I'm on baseball time. Mets had a nice victory today. I'm wearing Pete Alonso jersey. Shout out to Pete. 3 for 5, home run, 2 doubles.
Had to know, unfortunately. Still early-ish. 5 minutes left in the third.
Hawks are winning.
81-65 Hawks.
Hawks are
Damn.
winning. The Hornets are pretenders, bro.
Just,
This is their second year in a row in the play-in.
let me see Trae Young
they're
with
bad.
40 points right now. Pretty complete game. Wow. The Hawks came to play. Gallinari 12, Hunter 16, Capella 15 and 15. Damn. And Trae Young 14 and 8.
Yeah, they're all playing well.
Porter 13, 5 and 2.
What are the odds they upset the Heat in the first round?
My God. Plus 1,000 maybe.
No? You're gonna call
Trae
that?
Young hates Jimmy Butler. Like, they got real beef. Well, I don't know if he hates him, but like
Jimmy
when
Butler
they play,
seems
they
to have beef with a
they
lot
have
of
beef.
people.
Jimmy Butler does have beef with everyone.
When they play, they have beef.
He just has that play style. Just dog.
Two other things that happened that I think we should briefly talk about and touch on. Derek Carr got a contract extension. He's going to get paid $40 million a season. And this has led to basically two sides of fans coming at this. One of them, Derek Carr deserves it. He's one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. On the other side, Derek Carr is like in the mid-tier of quarterbacks. He's not elite. He's not great. Why pay him this much money? Now, where do you sit on that line, Joel, since you are a quarterback advocate?
I'm a quarterback, and I'm a Derek Carr advocate.
Correct.
But
I thought that's where you were going with that.
The Derek Carr contract, it's $40 million a year, but it's not really $40 million a year. It's kind of a 1-year extension, and they could get out of it. Derek Carr said he wanted to have this money so he could make the team flexible. He said that when he signed his previous contract, he was sad to see his best friend Khalil Mack get traded for a couple first-round picks when he got traded to the Bears. But you have to pay Derek Carr. I mean, is he not? He's a borderline top 10 quarterback, but you have to just admire guys who could get through adversity like he has with the Raiders, who have not really been the most stable organization, going through different head coaches, stuff with Henry Ruggs.
Can I ask you how isn't it $40 million?
He has a potential out in 2023.
Okay. So you think he's going to...
Well, no, I'm not saying the Raiders are going to cut him by any means.
I'm not saying they're going to cut him, but you're saying he's going to opt out of the contract?
No, it would be the Raiders have the opportunity. They're not going to, but the contract is set up where a lot of the money's like fake, more or less.
So in terms of you can make it signing bonus
Yes.
and stuff like that?
Yes.
All right.
Which is how contracts are kind of done
I'll tell you what,
nowadays.
do you like that? In my opinion, I feel like that loophole in salary cap is kind of annoying.
The issue is that these contracts aren't fully guaranteed in the NFL.
For sure.
The NBA, you can't get out of contracts.
Yeah.
You're stuck with it. That's why Russell Westbrook and John Wall, you see all these crazy contracts that will never happen in the NFL because very few contracts exist. Deshaun and Kirk Cousins are the only ones top of my mind that are fully guaranteed. So you can play with the money, make it signing bonuses, and manipulate the cap that way. I like it for the NFL and for me as a fan because I'm not going to get stuck with a terrible contract for 4 seasons. Mm-hmm. And it seems like the players don't really mind. The players want fully guaranteed contracts, I understand that. But they're always changing this to like signing bonuses and stuff. And I never really heard players complain about it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like as long as they're getting their money, then it's cool with me.
So I shouldn't hate on it for the fact that teams like the Saints that are supposed to be in some of the worst cap hell that there ever was, they're somehow finessing new players on their squad every single year.
I don't mind it because it's easier to rebuild and easier to become relevant.
Okay.
When you have like 2 bad contracts in the NBA, you're screwed.
But then I feel like then you can continue to try and finesse a roster that you had success with over and over and over again. Because you can somehow finesse making the money work by just giving
these. It's a bad thing to try running it back?
No, I just mean that eventually you're supposed to put yourself in a position in the NFL, unless you're taking a pay cut like Tom Brady did, that you have your quarterback, you pay him an obscene amount of money, that basically skews your salary cap every single season, and inevitably you're stuck financially where you either hit in the draft, but you really aren't in a position because you paid this quarterback this top dollar, so you're not really going to be garbage enough to get a really great draft pick. You understand?
I do.
I mean, listen, I understand what you're saying, and I understand why you're saying it as well, because this just makes things worse for the Broncos, right? The fact that they can manipulate the cap this way so they can have a better roster, you don't like it. They're your rivals, they're in division. I understand, and they're a better team than you guys right now. It's as simple as that. Because I can understand your frustration.
Unbelievable.
I don't know what you mean though about having an out, because here on ESPN it says it's a 3-year, $121.5 million contract that has a no trade clause and extends through the 2025 season.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it says, if I'm on Spot Track, it says that they have a potential out 2023, 1 year, $25 million, and it would be $5.6 million
I'll try to find the tweet that I saw that maybe explains it better.
For me, I feel like there's this thing that goes on when quarterbacks get paid, that whenever somebody gets paid and gets this huge contract, everybody all of a sudden wants to come out the woodworks and say, oh, it's a horrible deal. Oh, why pay him this? He's not worth this. He's not worth that. For one, I always go back to these two things. That quarterback is probably better than you think. Derek Carr has been in a shit situation since he got to Las Vegas for the most part, and he's made the most of it. Number two, top 15 quarterbacks don't grow on trees.
They don't.
What is the alternative? And that's what I always go back to when people want to talk about why contracts are so bad. What is the alternative? What is the alternative to not paying Derek Carr, getting Kenny Pickett, getting a quarterback in a draft class that isn't strong for quarterbacks, going with a cheaper option in free agency, and now you end up with like a filler Ryan Fitzpatrick? Like, this must be done. Derek Carr has been nothing but be loyal to the Raiders.
No doubt.
He's shown that when he has the talent around him, he can be an MVP candidate, and I'm predicting Derek Carr is going to have an MVP-like campaign this upcoming season with Devontae Adams, with Hunter Renfrow, with Darren Waller. This happens every other year. A new quarterback is up for an extension, and they now become one of the higher-paid quarterbacks in the NFL. Derek Carr, after 2016, got extended. He was the highest-paid quarterback at that time. Things are always moving up. Derek Carr, he's getting paid $40 million now. Once this new TV deal kicks in, we're going to look at this like, wow, $40 million for Derek Carr isn't too bad. Patrick Mahomes is getting $50 million. If Patrick Mahomes is getting $50 million, I'm comfortable paying Derek Carr $40 million. If Stafford is getting paid $40 million, I'm comfortable paying Derek Carr $40 million. It's as simple as that. Derek Carr deserves this. He's a great quarterback, and this constant trying to shit on quarterbacks that aren't in the upper echelon of the league is just ridiculous. Like, yeah, we know Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins and Tannehill and Derek Carr aren't in the elite tier, but those type of quarterbacks with a roster that is good around them can take you far in the playoffs, and if things go right, can lead you to a Super Bowl.
I'll give it a good.
I was just going to say real quick. So his contract is $65 million guaranteed,
okay,
but $40 million of it is for injury, while $25 million is just regular guaranteed money. So I guess that makes it easier to kind of manipulate the cap.
A similar comparison is Tony Romo, right? Tony Romo never really had the playoff success had some really great regular seasons, but never really could get it done in the playoffs. People look at him, and there's mixed opinions on him as well. When Tony was playing, in my opinion, I loved Tony's game. I thought that he was a great quarterback, just put in some unfortunate situations. Dez caught the ball, no doubt about it. But there were people that saw Tony Romo and thought that he should not be paid as a franchise quarterback because the verdict wasn't really out on him. Is he a great quarterback? Is he a good quarterback? So similarly here, Derek Carr is in a situation where he's been on a team. I wouldn't say similarly because Dallas's teams, when Tony was in these positions, were better than the Raiders and what Derek Carr has had. But when Derek Carr did have a roster to really compete, he had the Raiders as one of the top teams in the conference, and he unfortunately just went out with a broken ankle. And it took a little bit of time to see Derek have a team really comparable of winning consistently up until these last 2 seasons, where I believe last season they broke 500, correct? And this season, now they're a playoff team, and they put up a great game against the team that went to the Super Bowl. Now you're adding Davante Adams, and all the while, Derek Carr has been consistently the most important player for the Raiders. I'm fine with him getting this money. Like you said, if you're paying a guy like Mahomes the most money that there is to pay a quarterback, Derek Carr should not come close to Mahomes. But you're fine. I'm fine with paying him $40 million. Matt Ryan was getting around this, or supposed to be getting around this money. Yeah. That's fine. I'm fine with it. Like you said, as time's going on, we're going to see the contracts continuously increase. And Derek Carr is going to be put in a position where he's going to be paid inevitably in that 8 to 11 list of quarterbacks. Once these quarterbacks are getting their money, you're going to see Josh Allen. Did Josh Allen already get paid?
I think
he did get paid.
Yeah, I think so.
So you're going to have Lamar Jackson getting a contract very soon. You're going to have Kyler Murray getting a contract very soon. Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. These are all guys that are better than Derek Carr, that are going to get more money than him, and inevitably he'll drop off. Jimmy Garoppolo was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL at one point. Times are changing, and eventually it'll even out. So right now, I can't look at this contract and think it's bad. You need a comparable quarterback, especially with a roster that you're going all in on. Simple as that.
I think I found someone who likes Daniel Jones as much as you. Some Alex Wilson ESM on Twitter said, if Derek Carr is worth $40.1 million per season, how much is Daniel Jones worth? Maybe half that. If he balls out this upcoming year, extend him at $20-25 million a season might be in the cards. They have the cap space.
That's all day.
He lost me if he balls out this year.
He's a Giants guy.
I don't think he balls out this year.
You need to grow up.
He's a Giants guy.
Because when they get Evan Neal and Icky, it's going to be nuts.
I mean, the thing about it is
based off my research, man, if you're not good by year 2, you're not going to be good unless you're Josh Allen.
That's wrong.
Is Daniel Jones Josh Allen?
No, but
and
he's the most comparable to Josh Allen.
Good
no,
God.
He
is. Their arms are light years different.
See, but ironically, Daniel Jones still throws one of the best deep balls.
But Josh Allen's velocity and his arm strength
Of course. Listen, it's a poor man's Josh Allen. It's a comparison in the sense of you have...
I'm a poor man's KD then.
No. Sorry, kid.
No, I'm taking that.
No.
If Daniel Jones is a poor man Josh Allen, I'm a poor man's KD.
No.
Have you seen my mid-range, bro?
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Not bad is rude.
It's not... Whoa. That's a compliment. All right? Take it easy.
Can you believe this
That
guy,
being
bro?
said, Daniel Jones' ability to still throw the deep ball and have one of the better deep balls on top of being a mobile quarterback. It's true. It's true. I know I'm right.
His ability to also give the
Turn
ball to
over.
the other team.
I don't disagree.
Like,
I don't
he's up
disagree.
there with Darnold. He might be at more turnovers than Darnold.
However,
He does.
Early last season when the team was healthy, I will keep reiterating it, we were sitting at this table thinking, has Daniel Jones finally taken that step? And
who starts more games, Daniel Jones or Tyrod Taylor?
Daniel Jones.
I think it's going to be closer than you think.
No.
Let me ask you something. Has Daniel Jones proven to be a good quarterback?
If Sam Darnold has...
I'm saying no. Not yet. Not good. Consistently, no. However, early this season, yes. When the team was healthy and he had his guys, he looked damn good.
So did Darnold.
Just to just stay on this.
Darnold had those 3-game stretch this year, too. That's why I'm over that.
But as a passer,
so Darnold,
nah, not like Daniel.
Bro, Darnold was really good his first
Daniel.
3 games.
And Daniel was very smart.
So was Darnold. He barely had turnovers. His first 3 games, Darnold was phenomenal.
The talent he was playing was garbage.
He did what he did.
Okay, come on now.
Who Daniel Jones
Off
play?
the top of my
They
head,
played Washington. I know who ended up being terrible.
They did end up being terrible early in the season. You still had to respect them.
Carolina, he was terrible.
Played us.
Okay.
They played the Saints, the Cowboys, and the Cowboys was when it all fell off. And the Saints ended up being a respectable team.
No,
and the Giants beat them.
For sure, yeah. Defensively, they were for sure a good team.
Daniel rushed for over 100 that game.
Yeah, he's got wheels. He's got great straight line speed, but that's about it. He's got no.
I mean, listen.
No.
Come on, this Daniel Jones thing's ridiculous.
No, it's not. It's not ridiculous.
Josh
McDaniels.
To talk about Derek Carr, because I want to talk about good quarterbacks right now. Josh McDaniels was under the assumption Carr was going to get extended when he came to get this job. They wanted Derek Carr in New England before they drafted Mac Jones. So he understands Derek Carr's a great quarterback. He's his long-term quarterback. And I can't wait for them to finish better than the Broncos this upcoming year.
I'm sure you can't wait for it.
It's going to happen.
You bastard.
You know it's going to happen.
We're going to be all right. The Broncos are going to finish top of the division. Russell Wilson's going to be in MVP contention. And all will be right in the world. And I will be here thrilled every single Wednesday we do the show.
Something that happened before we started the show was that Baker Mayfield went on this podcast. I'm not sure what the name of the podcast was, but Baker basically said he feels disrespected. He feels like the organization lied to him. He feels as if real Cleveland fans and Browns fans will appreciate what he did for the city because they know he truly gave it his all. And he doesn't know where he's going to play next. He has no idea. He has no clue at this point. Maybe it's Seattle. Maybe it's not. You know, what do you think about Baker Mayfield going on this podcast and saying these things? And what do you just think about where he's at right now?
We had a similar topic where Baker released a whole page. Was it 2 pages? I can't even say.
It was 2 pages of phone notes. But
a whole tweet essentially
words
saying, yes, it was like a goodbye to the city and a thank you to the city because he felt like his time with Cleveland was inevitably coming up. And that was just when rumors came out. But now it's official. Deshaun Watson's going to be the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. And now he's on a podcast essentially saying that he feels disrespected. The organization handled it poorly. He was smacked in the face, essentially. Play better. And things like this don't happen.
That's kind of rude. He was hurt. He was hurt.
He's just been the epitome of inconsistent quarterback. And I'm sorry.
Rich coming from Mr. Daniel Jones.
God, come on.
I'd rather Baker than Daniel Jones.
Am I here boast?
Easily.
And
really
let's be real.
not close.
And is that saying something? Is that really saying something?
It is.
You're the one who said you'd pay Daniel Jones $20
million. And Baker wants 35. It's egregious.
Did Baker say he won 35?
At least I'm assuming.
Oh, okay.
Come on. Let's be real. What would he had asked for?
I would guess. Oh, you're saying if he wanted extension from the Browns?
Correct.
35. It's
35.
different what he asked for compared to what he gets.
But what would he get? 35.
I would think 25-30.
He went to the playoffs.
You just said he was terrible.
I don't disagree. Am I wrong by saying that?
Well, no, the playoff year he was great. Last year he was banged up.
Playoff year he was really good.
Yes.
He was really good.
Season. He had 2 good years, 2 bad years.
And unfortunately against the Chiefs without Patrick Mahomes, couldn't will him to go over.
I'm not a bigger truther.
I'm just saying he's had moments to really solidify himself as that Cleveland Browns starting quarterback for the rest of his career. And he squandered those moments. And this past season, yes, it was unfortunate. He had a bunch of injuries, one to his throwing shoulder that ultimately impacted his season negatively, as it did. But I'm tired of the whining, the moaning.
It's always something.
It really is. I said it with Darnold. I'm gonna say it with Baker. Enough with talking into the microphone. Go to the field, practice. Get better. Work on your craft. The best way to shut people up is with actions. Wow. I can say everything I want to you, right? I could tell you that I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna study. I'm gonna watch every single film of every single game. I could tell you that. But if I don't do it, what's the point? Why did I just say that? I wasted my time. Essentially, enough of words. I want to see actions. It's simple as that.
Go.
Oh, I thought you had something to say. You threw
no,
that
I want you
there.
to go.
Okay.
I want to hear what you want to say. What you got to say.
Yeah, you were kind of rude. So you were a little rude to Baker.
I guess, but in the grand scheme of things, this is a guy that is just constantly his entire career been running his mouth.
Well, Joel, you disagreed with me a few weeks ago when I said Baker was immature or has shown to be immature in his career, and you disagreed with me. Do you still feel that way? I'm curious. Because, I mean, this isn't the first time we've heard something like this from Baker.
I still disagree with you.
Like, I think he's had maturity issues, which stems throughout his career. And this is another one because he's in the spot right now, Baker, where he has to prove that he could be. Everyone knows he's a starting quarterback, but he wants to prove he could be a franchise quarterback. And he has the chance to go to Seattle with weapons, with DK, Lockett, Rashad Penny, who was great at the end of the season. He could go and prove that I could be a quarterback, maybe not for the next 10 years, but I could be more than capable to be your starting quarterback next 3 to 4 years while you try to find someone else. So I think right now Baker has to maybe stay off the podcast a little bit, stay off the whole disrespect. Because even if you do feel disrespected, I get it. But I feel like if I'm looking at it from the Seahawks perspective and I want to trade for Baker Mayfield, I don't want to have to deal with that if I move off you in a year. And what are you going to say a year from now? You're going to be like, oh, like the Seahawks disrespected me. They used me for one season because they didn't have a quarterback. Are you going to say that about me now when I just traded for you? So I think Baker, if he just stays off it now, and to your point, yes, just stay in the lab, go to the gym, do whatever, and just stay off the social media because you're just going to get dragged on social media. And I think at the end of the day, it's going to look worse for you.
This anti-Baker energy that comes from you two, I don't understand it. Because this has been a guy that has been nothing but an underdog his entire life.
It's the number one overall
his
pick.
entire career.
The number one overall pick can't be an underdog. It's simple.
He's an underdog. It's simple as
can't
that.
be a number one pick and be an underdog.
He was
you
a
can.
finalist.
You
He was
can-
a finalist.
Yeah, because he walked on though.
Did he? He might have won.
He did walk on.
He
Oh,
won. He won because Oklahoma quarterbacks won back to back. Because Kyler won, and I'm pretty sure he won.
He was a walk on.
Baker Mayfield is an underdog. It's as simple as that. The Browns moving on from him, was it ultimately the right decision depending on how Deshaun Watson and this thing goes? Yes. Yeah, it was.
Without a doubt.
Deshaun Watson is a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield. But I said it before and I say it again. The way they treated Baker Mayfield on his way out was disrespectful for somebody who brought a city their first playoff win in 20 years. Baker brought life to the city. He made Cleveland football relevant again. I have no problem with him going on a podcast and venting. I love that. I love that type of vulnerability from somebody who I feel like had just been scapegoated. Kyler Murray, after the playoff game versus the Rams, was angry with the Cardinals because he was scapegoated. How does Baker Mayfield feel? This entire year battling through 3 to 4 injuries, still playing, not complaining, still playing. What he said on the podcast was facts. 4 different head coaches. Hugh Jackson, Freddie Kitchens, 3 different head coaches. My bad. 3 different head coaches. 4 different OCs throughout his tenure, or it might have been 3 or 4. Baker hasn't been in the most ideal situation since entering the league. You talk about quarterbacks that are good.
Top offensive line, Nick Chubb.
Last year, we went into the season saying that they have a top 3 roster.
The roster is ridiculous.
We can't say this.
Kevin Stefanski, yeah, with him, yes.
Oh, and he had
But
coach of the year. That might help.
The first 2 years, no, there wasn't an ideal situation.
This is very easy. And I look at Tua Tagovailoa, a guy who you're saying pretty identically has been put in a situation where he has not had a consistent offensive coordinator, not great weapons, put in a terrible situation. But here's the difference. Tua doesn't say a word. He still continues to work on his game. He works on what he can control.
I agree.
I don't care about that.
See, but that's so ironic.
But
The reason why I don't care about that is because Tua has not even in his first 2 seasons. Tua hasn't even had a season as good as Baker's rookie season.
He was over 500 last season, and he missed time.
Are any of Tua's first 2 seasons better than Baker's rookie season? Absolutely not.
You could argue with the situation that Tua was
Nope.
in last season with the worst offensive line, bottom 3 rush offense. For him to do what he did was impressive.
Yeah, he was in a worse spot than Baker.
Easily.
Wasn't better than Baker's rookie season. You mentioned it before that quarterbacks that usually tend to be good show you quick. Baker showed everybody quick that he can be a good to great quarterback in the NFL.
I'm not saying
his second year, Freddie Kitchens, it was a disaster.
He regressed terribly.
Freddie Kitchens sucked.
First year with
agreed.
Kevin Stefanski, Baker had a top 12 quarterback season.
And that only started
Undoubtedly.
once Odell went down. We
You're
can't
not
say
wrong.
that that's not wrong either.
Well, I feel like that might help his case. Then this
No.
upcoming
He can't get along with his best wide receiver.
Especially when Odell leaves and goes to the Rams and becomes an instant impact player.
Then this past season, he was injured.
That's the only thing you can have.
Baker Mayfield, 2 out of the 4 seasons he's been in the NFL, have been great.
50%.
2 of them have been disappointments.
This is
What that tells me is that the 2 years that Baker hasn't been good, the coaching wasn't there. And then he was injured. When Baker has been healthy and he's been in a good situation, which every quarterback needs for the most part, he has been a top 15 quarterback. There's no doubt about it. You talk about Baker's maturity. I feel like he handled things well on his way out of Cleveland. It's unfortunate that the Colts and Matt Ryan was available.
Don't you think there's a reason why he hasn't been traded yet?
Because there's
no one wants him.
There's no team right now that I see definitively that needs a quarterback position.
Seahawks would be a massive upgrade. The Falcons would be a massive upgrade.
But the Seahawks, understand, we don't know what direction they're going in.
Carolina,
without a doubt, they have mutual disinterest, bro.
We don't understand what direction Seattle is going in. Are they rebuilding? Are they trading DK? That's why we don't know if they want to bring in the Baker, because they are in this weird mode of if they're rebuilding or not. You look at the Giants, for example. They're still trying to figure out who Daniel Jones is.
True.
That's it. But there's no doubt Baker is a significant upgrade for most teams. And the Sam Darnold thing in Carolina, I mean, that in itself, like just bringing in Baker to that situation, it just doesn't make sense. So there are a lot of situations right now that don't make sense. It's not that Baker's not a good quarterback. It just doesn't make sense.
Baker would be a huge upgrade over Darnold.
do you think that the Panthers said to Baker that we don't want you, and then Baker was like, yeah, I don't want to play for you
I really
either?
think so. Like, I deadass think that's how it went. When did this Baker Mayfield?
If Baker
defense
Mayfield
came
goes
from, like,
to the Giants, he's the second best quarterback in that division behind Dak.
Jalen Hurts would probably be better than him.
Carson
No,
Wentz.
he's
Carson
not.
Wentz would be better than him. So he'd be
At their best, Baker's
so
better
he'd
than
probably
Carson.
be the worst.
Baker's better than Jalen Hurts. I don't know why you guys think
I'll
Jalen
take
Hurts is
Jalen
better.
Hurts.
I would take Jalen.
Jalen Hurts is not better than Baker
I'll take
Mayfield.
Jalen Hurts.
He's not better than Baker Mayfield. He's not.
Because at least he's great at something.
Yeah, he's a great rusher. Great leader. Handsome.
What's
Why?
Baker great at?
He's good at a lot of things.
So fine.
I like that.
So he's not great at anything.
So you'd rather have a quarterback who's a mediocre passer.
who offers me at least great leadership, like you mentioned, great running abilities,
And progressing as a passer. This is his first year starting.
when I have Baker Mayfield, who has yet to show me that he is great at anything.
I think Baker Mayfield's a very, very good leader. It's infectious.
You might be the only person in America.
It's infectious.
Infectious.
It is. And you this anti-Baker slant that you guys are taking, I'm kind of just disappointed.
There's nothing to be disappointed in.
I'm disappointed in you guys.
I'm on the right
quite
side of
frankly.
history, unfortunately for you.
What am I supposed to do with a guy who's been good 2 years, bad 2 years? He's probably an average quarterback.
That's an upgrade over a lot of teams.
Again, we went into last season saying that the Browns were going to be one of the best, if not the best team in the AFC.
And also, if he's an upgrade over all these guys, why hasn't anyone traded for him if he's an upgrade over a lot of teams? Don't you want to get better at quarterback? He's on a basically 1 year deal.
One, I think the contract. A lot of teams don't want to eat up the salary. The
It's
Browns
not-
are going
it's
to.
not huge-
The
it's not a
Browns are
huge
going.
hit.
The Browns are going to have to eat up most of that. And I think
But if
we'll
you're a
see.
bro-
We'll see more traction after the draft.
Why would the Browns have to take on so much of that salary if Baker's good quarterback? Wouldn't teams want Baker to be their starting quarterback if he's good? If they can upgrade,
What team has a salary cap to take on Baker's salary?
they can
that
make
need a
salary
quarterback?
happen.
Dude, it
You
would
can
be
make it
18
happen.
million.
The Giants don't have. They have no salary cap right now. The
They
Giants have
signed
no
Tyrod
money.
instead.
The Giants have no money. Yeah, for what? Like $2 million? Like, come on,
I
bro.
think
What
it
are we
was.
talking
I
about?
think it was more than 2
What are you
mil.
talking about?
It was
Like,
probably
what
more
are
than
we
2
talking
mil.
about? The
You
Giants.
just think he's an upgrade for so many teams, but nobody's interested. If you can upgrade at quarterback, bro, you can make it. We saw the Saints go from negative 90 million to cap space to having money.
Let me
2
ask you.
years,
something.
11 million, Tyrod.
Let me ask you
5.5.
something. Do the Falcons have any money to spend?
I don't know what's on my head.
They
But,
don't.
bro. We know
They
this.
don't.
We know if you want to make something happen with cap, bro, you can make it happen.
Not necessarily. It's not the same for every situation, bro.
It's the
different.
same for a lot of situations.
When you're taking on dead money, it's not.
How much dead money is Baker's contract? This is his last
Well,
season.
I'm talking about this. The Falcons, they're taking up massive dead money with Matt Ryan right now.
Yes,
so
Matt
that's
Ryan.
why they don't have cap space. The Giants have massive dead money right now. They have released some players. And plus, Dave Gettleman gave huge contracts to Adoree Jackson, Kenny Galladay, which has messed up their cap significantly.
You said he was an upgrade for a lot of teams, so I've heard two teams.
And a lot of teams don't have cap. The teams that could use a quarterback don't have the cap to get.
Who has cap space right now? Drew, do you have it up?
I do have it up right now. Not many that need a quarterback.
We're at the end of free agency. So.
Yeah, it's true. Atlanta only has around $3 million. Giants have around $7 million.
They could make stuff happen, bro. If a team really wanted Baker, bro, if they think he's a good quarterback or an upgrade, they can make it happen.
You're saying that he's better than Jalen Hurts, right? The Eagles, they have $11 million.
But the Eagles aren't going to move off of Jalen Hurts for Baker.
Yeah, because they shouldn't, because it makes no sense.
I just think you're overrating Baker.
It doesn't make sense because Baker's not a marginally better quarterback than Hurts.
Where does Baker rank? The 8th, 17th best quarterback?
At his best, he's a top 15 quarterback.
Right? The Commanders probably could have traded for Baker Mayfield.
He wasn't available at the time.
He was available.
No,
he's been available this whole offseason.
Bro, Carson Wentz was the first guy traded. The Commanders were the first team that traded for a quarterback.
It was pretty common knowledge that Baker was available.
At the time that the Commanders traded for Carson Wentz, absolutely no, it was not. No, it was not, bro. It was not.
Listen, the way they treated Baker, if he's saying they disrespect him as much as they did, I feel like other teams probably knew he was available if that's the case.
It's a fact. And think about how much news, how much time goes into something before a news break.
Keep on doubting Baker.
Russell Wilson, it was 2 weeks before the trade got pulled, and we found out 2 weeks after. There's a lot that goes on that we don't see.
Keep on doubting Baker.
Like, Baker's
fine.
so marginal.
I'm going to doubt Baker, who's been mediocre. I'm fine with that, man. Yeah. Someone who shows that he'd rather run his mouth than work.
Okay. He's getting disrespectful.
And he still does that and is still better than Tua. It's not even close.
No.
I know. It's not close.
No, it's wrong. Completely.
I don't think so. I think Tua is not a good quarterback.
That's all right, man. And when Tua has an unbelievable season this year, you're going to be sick.
A season that won't be better than anything Baker's done yet.
You hope.
He could put up Baker's numbers.
No doubt.
What's Baker's best number? 27 touchdowns, 4,000 yards, something like that?
27 touchdowns, maybe 13 picks, I believe.
Yeah. You don't think Tua could do that? This offense? Daniel?
I have huge doubts. 26 touchdowns, 8 picks.
And how many yards? 4K? A little under?
35. Never thrown for 4,000.
Tua could do that. Without a doubt.
I don't know if Tua can throw 4,000.
It's a good line, especially touchdown interception ratio, but it's not moving the needle a ton.
Listen, man.
It's moving the needle when you've had Jason Campbell and Terrell Pryor. I don't know. Terrell Pryor didn't play quarterback for them.
You know, this disrespect is getting out of hand.
He played quarterback for Raiders.
Facts, yeah.
This disrespect is getting out of hand, bro.
Brandon Weeden, he's better than all these terrible quarterbacks, but not a lot of guys right now.
Derek Carr just got paid, which means that it's time to compare quarterbacks in the same tier. So, Derek Carr versus Dak Prescott versus Kirk Cousins versus Ryan Tannehill. Rank these 1 through 4.
So I have Dak, Carr, Tannehill. Who's the other ones?
Kirk Cousins.
Dak, Tannehill, Carr.
Dak. Do you have your list right now?
I have my list right now.
All right, go ahead so I can actually formulate one.
Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, Dak Prescott, and Ryan Tannehill.
I'm taking Derek Carr. He's shown that he could lead teams. Dak Prescott, number 2. He's a better leader than Kirk Cousins. Kirk 3, Tannehill 4.
I would have Dak number 1. I would have Derek Carr number 2. I would have Kirk Cousins number 3 and Tannehill number 4.
Kirk is easily the best quarterback.
No. But I will say Kirk is definitely one of the more underappreciated good quarterbacks for sure.
What makes Dak better than Kirk Cousins?
In my opinion, I believe that he's a little bit more smarter. He's a better leader. Passing wise, it's close. Kirk Cousins is a really great passer, especially this season that he just displayed, But he also has the benefit of Adam Thielen, Jettas.
And one of the worst offensive lines, the benefit of that too.
No doubt. Yeah, but
don't count that out.
I'm not saying that that's necessarily wrong, but this season definitely took strides in their offensive line. Darrisaw definitely helped seal things up.
They were a bottom 25 unit. the strides is going from 31 to 26.
But that's still strides.
But it's one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL.
It's not great. I'm not saying you're wrong.
I mean, Dak put up basically the same numbers, a little bit better than Kirk this past season.
Yeah, with significantly more help, especially on that offensive line.
That's it. And that's it. And
that offensive line makes it significant.
That's not necessarily true.
Kirk has better weapons.
He does easily.
All around? No,
Easy.
absolutely not.
Easy.
CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper,
Nope.
Michael Gallup.
Nope. Don't say it.
Dalton
You
Schultz.
can say it as emphatically as you
Offensive
want. You can say it with as much energy as you want. It is
Like,
not
Kirk
better
has
than Jettis,
a top 3
Thielen,
wide receiver.
Dalvin Cook. It's not. It's not
Dalvin
that.
Cook is significantly better than Zeke.
He is, unfortunately.
He is. He's also more injured than Zeke.
Not necessarily.
How many? I would say
He had
Dalvin
he had clean over 1,000 yards this season.
Dalvin
All
might
I'm
miss
saying
2
is that
games.
all around their help, when you include the offensive line and the tight end position, which is huge, Dak has more help.
Conklin was
and has
really good
had,
for them last
and
season.
has had more help.
Yeah, Conklin was really good.
Dalton Schultz is better.
Schultz put up a better year. Yes,
Tyler
but-
Conklin came out of nowhere.
And Schultz came out of nowhere also.
Not necessarily.
because Irv Smith got hurt. That's why.
Yeah, but also this was like his first real productive year.
Similar to Schultz.
500 yards, though, was productive for him.
This was Schultz's breakout year.
Dalton Schultz actually had 700, 800 yards receiving?
Because
Is also because this is his first year. I mean, last year, Dak got hurt, but Jarwin's been the starter for the past couple of years. This was Schultz's first year as a starter, and he thrived. He played really well.
So you said Carr, Kirk.
Schultz had 615 yards last season.
Did you say? I'm sorry. You said
And 800 this past season.
You said Kirk, Carr, Dak, Tannehill.
Yeah, easily. That's the
Easy.
list.
That's pretty foolish.
That's easily.
Take Carr one.
I don't hate it. I understand the logic behind it, but I just feel like Dak's abilities just are a little bit better than these guys.
Dak is the most overrated quarterback in the NFL.
Overrated strong.
He is overrated.
I wouldn't say that.
He has had the benefit of a top 15 defense, mostly top 10.
Bro, his defense was garbage last season. Last season was when he was balling the way that he was. He had to do so because his defense was trash.
You serious?
Last season, not this season that we just had. The season before.
You mean last season where he played 4 games?
And when he was putting up astronomical numbers?
Yeah. That's the only year the Cowboys defense was bad, and Dak played 4 or 5 games.
And how about his rookie season?
They had a top 10
They had a
defense.
great defense, sure, but he was a part of one of the best offenses in the league.
And the best rushing attack in the NFL.
And he won
with
Rookie
Zeke.
of the Year.
With Zeke.
They won 13 games.
I'm saying
He left the field beating the Packers.
Every single
Put some respect on his
name. You look
name.
at Dak Prescott. You look at Dak Prescott's entire career. 2020, he got hurt. He played 4 or 5 games? That's the only season the Cowboys defense was bad. Every year, he's had a top 10 defense. He's had a top offensive line. He's had top offensive weapons. He's had a top running game. There is nothing you can in the Dak hasn't had since he's been with the Cowboys. He's had everything given to him.
Kirk at least has had the offensive weapons. So he's had Dalvin every year. He had Thielen every year. He went from Stephon Diggs to Jettas. That's pretty damn good. I understand that Dak had more, but the numbers statistically are right there too.
Yeah, but the thing is, even with Kirk having that, you can still compare the receiving cores when you add that third receiver. Because for one, we've already addressed multiple times that you think Thielen isn't as good as I think he is.
I think he's a really good number
At
2
this
still.
point-
I don't think
at
he's
this
great,
point
but
in time-
Right now,
good
who's better,
too.
Thielen or CeeDee Lamb?
Take CD.
Who's better this past season?
So CeeDee Lamb, who is Dak Prescott's current number 1 receiver.
Well, we're talking. Well, this season hasn't happened. We're talking about
And Amari
these
Cooper
past
was
seasons.
in and out of the lineup last season.
Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb with Michael Gallup. Those are 3 1K receivers
Michael Gallup,
on one
who also
team.
got hurt last season.
And Dalton Schultz, who had 800 yards. And you got an offensive line that's significantly better than Kirk Cousins.
So Dalton Schultz finally breaking out. You're saying that's more on Dalton Schultz than Dak Prescott's ability to get him the ball.
Yes, Dalton Schultz is a good tight end.
Now,
you do this a lot, and I don't understand why, but whenever players have a good season, you're like, oh, they're not really good. It's like the quarterback that's the reason why he had this season.
name another time I've done that.
You've done it multiple times. You did it
Yeah.
last episode with the Peyton Manning thing, with the Drew Brees thing
With
when he had
Brandon
Marquise
Stokely,
Colston.
Brandon Stokely and Austin Collie.
You called Jimmy Graham not good because
After leaving the Saints, he wasn't.
It was a totally different offense. It didn't utilize him
So
correctly.
everything I'm saying so far that you're saying I've said has been correct. So we'll keep going.
And you said it also. I'm trying to remember the way you said it. You
It's
said
all
it.
right,
You
King.
said it with Derek Carr and Hunter Renfrow too.
No, I did not.
Yes, you did.
I said that Hunter Renfrow had a great season.
And you said Derek Carr made Hunter Renfrow.
That was
I
probably
remember
me.
that.
That was you that said that.
Probably. It sounds like something I would say.
Y'all do that a lot, and I don't.
You got to do a better job of listening.
Y'all do that a lot, and I don't understand why you do that.
Done it?
Dalton Schultz is a good tight end, regardless of Dak.
If he
goes to Minnesota,
he's a good tight end now. Yeah. Right now, because after
this is his first year starting with Dak,
for sure.
He had 600 yards last season,
and this is his 4th year in the league.
That sounds
right. He just got a he just signed a tender. This is going to be 5. Year 5.
Okay, so CJ Uzomah is only good because of Joe Burrow.
That's a strong. You can make a strong case.
Tyler Conklin is only good because of Kirk Cousins.
I mean, I don't even think Conklin's good. Like, he's a serviceable tight end for sure.
So basically, you're giving Dak Prescott. You're giving him the credit for Dalton Schultz having a great season.
Yeah.
But all you telling me basically is that Kirk Cousins deserves to get points taken off for having Jettas, but you don't credit Kirk Cousins with helping Jettas as a rookie break the rookie receiving record.
But we have to be conscious of the fact that Jettas is a top 3 wide receiver.
Nobody pictured him as that going into the season.
Because Jettas was the reason why.
That was unexpected.
Yeah, that's because, bro, that's Jettas. Like, Kirk helps, obviously. Kirk's an above-average quarterback. What would you say? Was it Odell or Eli?
Like, Devontae Adams
was a little bit of both.
Devontae Adams was a second-round pick also.
It was Odell or Eli.
Kirk Cousins is still a great quarterback. Like, I'm just saying, players can be good without the quarterback, like, having to make everything. Like, Dalton Schultz is good.
He's not that type of guy.
You lose me when you talk about Justin Jefferson or Odell's first few seasons when you're a top 5 receiver. It's different.
Bro, what I'm saying is that I hate this argument you guys make about you do this too, where you guys are like, oh, they're only good because of this guy. Like, no, bro, they're good because they're good players. When have I done that
outside of Hunter Renfrow?
If you just gave me better examples, maybe I could feel you. But every example you fed me
and Dalton Schultz, it's his 4th season. It was just his first year. He barely played. His second year, he got hurt. Then his third year, when he was healthy, 615 yards, then 800 yards. Like, bro, Dak didn't make Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz was a good player that finally got healthy and the opportunity. It's not just that, Dak is so great. It's not just that
Dak is fantastic.
And it probably also helps having Amari Cooper, Gallup, and CeeDee Lamb when you're the 4th option.
And so now what is he going to be, their 2nd option right now?
Probably, yeah.
You have Michael Gallup, who's still coming back from a torn ACL.
So Dak Prescott made Michael Gallup too. He made CeeDee Lamb too.
Well, CeeDee Lamb was it was a 1st-round pick.
Okay, but you're telling me just because they have good seasons that this guy makes them. That's what I disagree with. Just because Dalton Schultz had a good season doesn't mean he made an average
talent in Dalton Schultz that Dak Prescott has now turned into an above-average talent. Because Dalton Schultz is in a situation where he is not seeing insane coverage because he has CeeDee Lamb, the luxury of having CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper on the field at the same time, where he's not drawing nearly as much attention.
Dalton Schultz is a good tight end. There's a reason why a reason why he was a highly coveted tight end on the open market, and multiple teams were going to make a run at him.
So I have a question for you.
So you're telling me most teams are dumb?
Bro, people make runs. Albert Hainsworth got like $100 million.
He was coming off one of the better seasons.
I know. If you have one great season, you're going to get sought after in free agency.
But we know Dalton Schultz is a good player.
Dalton Schultz was put in a great situation.
He's also a very good player.
So you're telling me if he was on the Jaguars, he'd be putting up 800 yards?
With him being one of their only options, it's definitely possible. Yes,
I think he would.
Yes.
That is such a stretch.
He's putting 800 yards with like 20 quarterbacks in the NFL.
Name 20 quarterbacks.
Yes.
Look at me.
Yes.
20 quarterbacks?
20 quarterbacks.
All right. Which quarterbacks?
He's doing it for one. Well, do I even have to go through the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL?
No.
Every quarterback better than Dak Prescott, he's putting up those numbers with.
Dak is fringe. He's probably that 11 to 13. Yeah,
these are all these guys.
Right? Is he not doing that with Carson Wentz?
800 yards? Probably not.
Carson Wentz, a guy who's thrown to Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert, who's they've had great seasons with.
Okay, let's take it easy because Goddard is better than Dalton Schultz. We're looking at Ertz, who is better than Dalton Schultz.
Okay, but we've seen Carson Wentz loves tight ends, bro. Like, we've seen them have great seasons with him.
Okay, in this past season, Carson Wentz, Mo Alley Cox, right? And what did he really do? I don't disagree.
Dalton Schultz
his number two option was less than 400 yards this season.
He had 316 yards and 4 touchdowns. Mo Alley Cox. But Mo Alley Cox is a blocking tight end. And they interchange their tight ends. It's Mo Alley Cox and then Jack Doyle. Like, they have it's interchangeable.
Is he having 800 yards with Baker Mayfield?
No.
It's
absolutely
possible.
Not.
He didn't do it with Austin Hooper.
It's possible. But Austin Hooper, we have to stop. We have to look at the offensive system, too. Offensive systems are different.
I know what you're saying.
But for example, like,
but you're taking the offensive system out of him. We're just naming quarterbacks.
I'm naming quarterbacks, but you name Baker Mayfield. He's doing it with Carson Wentz. He's doing it with Derek Carr.
I don't think so.
He's doing it with Derek Carr.
He could.
He's doing it with Kirk Cousins. He's doing it with Matt Ryan. Like, there's no doubt about it. He's doing it with Matt Ryan. He's doing it. Do you think he's doing it with Tua?
Gesicki just had a pretty good year.
They're just have a really good.
Similar Gesicki and Schultz.
I don't disagree. I probably think Gesicki's a little bit better than Dalton Schultz.
Not gonna fight you, really, but they're in the same tier.
Is he not doing it with Tyler Higbee? I mean, he's not doing it with Jared Goff.
No.
Tyler Higbee had 734 yards with Jared Goff, and Tyler Higbee wasn't even like one of the main options on the team.
With Sean McVay as his head coach.
Okay, but offensive system matters.
In a system where he had Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Todd Gurley.
Offensive system matters.
Jared Goff had how many yards?
Like, but offensive system matters though. Like, it's not just a quarterback, bro. There's an entire system built around to get these guys.
I understand that, bro. But we're also naming
bro.
Quarterbacks without like. Are we just putting Baker in a whatever offense just in a vacuum? Is Baker doing this, or is Baker in Cleveland? No, but if you just
and Baker in the West Coast scheme is Schultz is doing that, bro. Like, we got to understand Dallas is a pass heavy attack. Like, their numbers are gonna be inflated because it's a pass heavy attack. And Dalton Schultz, he can go to multiple teams and put up high-level production and be a top 10 tight end in the NFL.
Cousins had like 30 more attempts.
All I'm saying is that...
I mean, Dak had 30 more attempts than Cousins, bro.
I mean, the Vikings were a much more pass-heavy offense this year. They utilized play action much less than previous years past.
I know, but it's not like it's a big difference.
What I'm saying is that we got to stop acting like just because he had a good season that Dak Prescott made him, bro. Like, he didn't make him. He was going to break out because he's a good player.
It's just very fortunate that he had Dak Prescott as his quarterback.
Well, yeah, and he could have had 15 other quarterbacks and had that same exact season. And he was put in a
situation where he has 2 of the top 20 receivers probably on his team as well.
That definitely helps. Like, those all help. Those all factor into it.
Correct.
But it doesn't take away from the fact that he's a good player on his own. He's a good player.
Yeah, I agree now.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But he's a good player not because of Dak Prescott, though. Which is the argument you're trying to make.
No, I think that Dak Prescott definitely benefited Dalton Schultz without a doubt.
Well, okay. That's a different conversation.
No,
to say somebody benefited
correct
is not the same as saying he made him. Those are two different things.
He definitely did.
Okay, but so I'm saying, like, you're just going to keep going in circles.
So dead
it's not in circles.
15
I'm just
minutes over Dalton Schultz.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, bro, like, in the NFL, you're a good player. You're a good player, bro. Somebody doesn't make you, bro. If you're a good player, you're a good player.
True.
There's some occasions that happen.
Like I said,
but it's mostly
Brandon Stokely, Austin Collie.
But it's mostly Austin Collie was good until the neck injury, and it's mostly the offensive systems, bro. Like,
Julian
the
Edelman.
Offensive systems are what make the quarterback play.
Elite players are different. Like Justin Jefferson, Cousins helped, but Justin Jefferson is Justin Jefferson.
KJ Osborne also had a big time year too, as a third receiver.
We're talking about Justin Jefferson. Like that's why, like, I understand what you're saying, but when you're great, like, that's why when you say, like, the whole Eli Odell thing, like, bro, it's probably like 80% Odell.
Dalton Schultz is a top 10 tight end in the NFL.
He is, but that's not saying much. Tight end landscape's not that great.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is that he can produce at that level in other situations. It's not just like Dak made him. He's a good player on his own.
I think he'll be able to get 800 yards a lot of plays. 800 yards is not ridiculous for a tight end.
Yeah, like, I'm just saying, I just hate that y'all do that. Like, y'all act like players make these players, bro. Like, they're good on their own. Like, when you said Carr made Hunter Renfrow, like, Renfro's one of the best route runners on his own, bro.
Renfro's nice.
Like, they didn't make them. He's a great route runner.
He is.
That's why he's able to produce. That's why he gets double teamed. Did he get double teamed because Derek Carr made him?
Yeah.
Like, nah, bro. Come on, bro. I hate that.
Derek Carr made the only option at one point, so double him.
Well, actually, in week 18, Darren Waller was on the field, and they still doubled and Renfrow.
Darren Waller had a rough year.
He did.
He was great week 1. Gave him like 20 targets, and then that was it.
Take me back. I
was on a cloud 9 week 1, man. God, that was 20 targets. I was like,
it's good we're talking about
against the Ravens too.
Yeah.
It's good we're talking about tight ends because we're going to talk about some tight end prospects in this draft. I feel like this is a deep class for tight ends. There's not this top high end talent at tight end, but I feel like there's a lot of really good starters that can start for a team day one if you have a need at tight end. And just looking at this tight end landscape, do you feel the same way as me that this tight end class is a bit slept on in terms of being deep at that position?
I don't think it's great. I mean, I think it's okay. If you look back the last few years, past season, they had Kyle Pitts, Pat Freiermuth, Brevin Jordan, who were high on. So there's like 2 guys that we really like, but 2020 was Cole Kmet, Albert O, Devin Asai, and they had the patch after that other tight end. I don't remember his name. 2019 was really good with Hawkinson, Fant, Irv Smith, Dawson Knox. 2018 was really good with Hurst, Gesicki, Goddard, Mark Andrews, Schultz, Conklin. So I don't think they're more the 2020 class with Cole Kmet and Albert O compared to any of these other classes. There are some nice guys in here. Like I'm sure you guys talk about like Trey McBride. There's like Jelani Woods, who's this ridiculous athlete. Jelani Woods actually had, I think he's the most athletic tight end in NFL history, according to RAS, which is relative athletic score. It takes like, I want to say every prospect since 1987, like tens of thousands. And it basically gives them an athletic score, their height, their weight compared to their 40, their combine, everything to do at the 40. And he was a 10 out of 10, like the number one most athletic tight end of all time. A few other guys that were up there. Jordan Cameron from the 2011 class was a 9.98. Gesicki was a 9.97. Luke Wilson was a 9.94, and Greg Olsen 9.46. So there is a bit of correlation there with athleticism in terms of RAS score compared to doing it on the field. In terms of him as a prospect, we'll see. I mean, he is 6'7", 250, ran a 4.6. So like the athleticism is there. His tight end production's not the best. He's not a great blocker. His route tree isn't developed. He's dealt with some drops, but athletically he's really good. So I think overall, the tight end class, like this is going to have probably 1 to 2 starters in it. I don't see a lot of guys like we saw. I went back, and when I saw that 2018 class, I didn't remember it being that good. There'll be a couple guys in there. I think probably 2, maybe 3 drafted in rounds 2 or 3. But overall, I don't really see this as a strong tight end class.
I don't necessarily disagree. You have McBride. You have Rucker, right? Chris Sims has him as his number 1 tight end on the board.
I'm surprised.
One that I'm looking at is Charlie Kolar, solely for the fact that Iowa State has been great at producing tight end talent, and he just has the physical intangibles to be a solid tight end. 6'6", 252 pounds. One thing that is halting me from really saying that he could be that next level talent is that he does struggle with blocking, but he has really good hands, put up a solid season, 756 yards, 6 touchdowns. Decent in his season, was first team, all Big 12. And these are only the 3 guys, but I'm looking at Kolar solely for the fact that Iowa State has done a decent job of producing tight ends. You had Kittle come from Iowa State. You had Noah Fant come from Iowa State, and these were 2 highly touted prospects. Question, did Hockenson go to Iowa State?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure it was Hockenson and Fant the same year. That's why the Broncos traded back.
University of Iowa.
So that's really the only reason why I'm looking at Kolar. And on top of his physical intangibles, he has the build, the stock to be a solid tight end, just needs to work on blocking.
I think this is a very deep tight end class. There's not a top end guy. Like there's not a Hockenson or Fant or a
Pitts.
Kyle Pitts. Like
O.J.
there's not
Howard,
there's
one
not
of those, he was first round.
There's not a top end tight end in this draft class, but there's a bunch of guys like.
Is there a Freiermuth?
Yeah, there is. There's a Freiermuth.
I don't even think there's a Freiermuth.
There's a Dalton Schultz in his class, and I think there's multiple players.
Freiermuth is nice.
Both of those guys can be top 10 tight ends.
Like Trey McBride, in my opinion, I don't like. For me, I have my tight end rankings. I think Dulcich is 1. He's somebody who's really popped out to me. 2 is Isaiah
UCLA,
Likely.
Right?
Yeah, Isaiah Likely, Coastal Carolina. Trey McBride is 3. Ruckert is 4. 5 is Charlie Kolar. For me, I'll just go through 1 through 5. Dulcich for me, 6'4", 250 pounds. You can see that he has great burst for a tight end. I was watching UCLA film. He pops off the screen when you see him run. My question with him is like, how polished is his route running really?
Excuse me.
And in blocking, he's not the greatest blocker, but I feel like even now we're moving away from tight ends being utilized as heavily as in the run game.
True.
And there's different packages being thrown, so you can have a blocking tight end out there. Then you can have a guy like Dulcich come out and, be in a slot and not have to have that big of a responsibility. Dulcich, to me, is really good. 42 receptions, 700 yards this past season with UCLA, nice. 5 touchdowns. He, to me, like as a pass catcher, reminds me a lot of Hockenson. I think he has really good ability with the ball in his hands after the catch.
Okay.
Like he's really good. He has really great speed. Isaiah Likely is a bit tricky because he's 6'4", 240, but he looks slimmer. He looks like a wide receiver. He's the most athletic tight end in this draft class by far. I think. Yeah. Oh. He's faster than him. He's a more polished route runner. Isaiah Likely is.
He ran a 4.6 at 6'7".
Isaiah Likely is faster than him. I guarantee that.
What Likely run?
Likely ran. I could check. But just on the game tape I've seen, he's faster than Jelani Woods.
I mean, weight adjusted, Jelani's going to have him beat by a ton.
Yeah, but I mean, that's like, what you're talking about, just speed for speed, like who's faster. Like Isaiah Likely's faster, but he's also smaller, and he looks like a receiver. He doesn't look like a tight end, which is why, in my opinion, I feel like Isaiah Likely has to put on some weight. He has to add like 10, 15 more pounds so he can transition to being a tight end fully. But the athletic ability is there, and if he does add weight and keeps the same athleticism, he can be a very good pass catcher. I view him as like a Trey Burton, where he can be a pretty productive tight end.
A 4.8.
4.8?
Isaiah Likely.
I don't believe that time.
That was at his pro day.
You're a big game speed guy, so you must love Treylon Burks.
Treylon Burks is...
He had 22 miles per hour. They've been the fastest run in the entire NFL last year.
I don't know. Treylon Burks, I wasn't that high on when I watched him. He's still like, he's not as high as I was on other receivers. Mm-hmm. I like Treylon, but he does look slow to me.
This was March 21st, 2020, weighed in at 238 pounds, 4'8".
And yeah, Jelani was 250 and ran a 4.6.
Jelani had some great numbers.
Yeah, no, and athleticism doesn't always.
Big.
He's 6'7".
6'7".
Isaiah Likely.
Oh, he's 270. I had 250 here.
275.
Isaiah Likely had the best production outside of Trey McBride. Out of any tight end. 912 yards, 12 touchdowns, 59 receptions.
Yeah.
It's just he's more of a receiver. Like, he doesn't look like a tight end. He's fast.
McBride's similar. He's 6'3", 240. You know, he doesn't have that prototypical tight end speed. McBride's my tight end one, probably. I don't love any of these guys, but I have to pick one. It's McBride. He had 40% of his team's receiving yards over the last 2 seasons. Like, he is the focal point of this offense, which I like to see.
McBride, to me, reminds me a lot of Cole Kmet.
Yeah.
Like, I think, and that's why I'm saying, like, this draft class, you're not going to get a top 5 tight end, but you're going to get a Dalton Schultz, a Cole Kmet, a Pat Freiermuth. You're going to get solid, productive ones. And I'm not even mentioning...
Not been good.
Yeah, the verdict's not out on Cole Kmet, unfortunately.
And I'm not even mentioning, like, Jeremy Rucker, which, like, the production isn't there, but whenever he's asked to do something, he's probably the most complete tight end in terms of he's a great blocker, but he doesn't get the ball thrown to him because Ohio State doesn't utilize tight ends, and they have so many receivers,
they have
great
4
running game.
picks.
And also, C.J. Stroud, he missed them a lot. And he missed a lot of receivers throughout the season. He got better, but
overrated.
He overthrew a lot of passes. He wasn't the most accurate. But Jeremy Rucker could very well be like the best tight end that we didn't see coming just because Ohio State limited him so much.
These guys have potential, but I don't think many of them are going to impact day one. Tight ends in general usually don't make a big impact.
It takes time.
They probably, out of all the skill positions, they probably take the longest.
I don't know. I see a lot of good tight ends in this class. I think, like, what's the class that you mentioned, 2018?
That was Hayden Hurst, Gesicki, Goddard, Mark Andrews, Schultz, Tyler Conklin. That was 2018.
That's a solid class.
Outside of like Mark Andrews, like he's the one that's like the top tight end.
Hayden Hurst, first round pick.
Yeah.
I feel like this tight end class is similar to that one. Outside of like
I don't
having
think
a top
anyone's
going to
be better than Gesicki, Goddard, Schultz. No way.
I don't think
anyone's going to be better than Goddard.
Don't count out Greg Dulcich. I'm telling you, he's nice.
Listen, hope for the best for him. Seems like a nice guy.
6'7", running a 4.61.
No, he's an athletic freak.
What?
Like, Jelani Woods
was literally the most athletic tight end of all time.
275? Oh my god,
dude's a freak, absolute freak of nature.
He's like 24 though.
Yeah, he's an old rookie.
He's old,
but athletically,
that's crazy.
Yeah, like the most athletic tight end of all time is ridiculous, absolutely crazy. Bro, a 37-inch vert.
Jelani?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But most people surprisingly don't have that high of a grade on him.
Yeah, he's all like potential athleticism, but that's
23.
He's gonna be 24 to start the season.
Yep, that's fine. I'm fine with that.
That's a very old
especially
rookie.
In the NFL though. That really doesn't matter. Like Terry was an old rookie.
I know, but I feel like most of the time it goes the other way if you're an old rookie. Like, because usually if it takes you like 4 years to break out in college, you're probably not gonna be a great NFL player.
I understand.
There's anomalies for sure.
Jinx.
On to the next topic. The Jaguars have been in the news recently because Travon Walker is projected to be a top 3 pick in this draft. And there's been some chatter about him potentially being the number 1 pick in the draft over a guy like Aiden Hutchinson. And a lot of it is due to the fact that Travon Walker is a physical specimen. And he has all the athletic traits to be one of the better edge rushers in the NFL. But he hasn't put it all together yet. Do you think it would be a mistake if the Jaguars selected Travon Walker number 1?
I do. I think it's a mistake. To me, Aiden Hutchinson's the clear number 1 pick. I understand Travon Walker's athleticism, his combine. He ran a 4.5 at 270. Like, athletically, he's an absolute freak. But let's not sit here and pretend like Aiden Hutchinson isn't also a physical freak.
No doubt.
He was in the 99th percentile when it comes to 3-cone, which is arguably the most important combine drill you could do as a defensive end. Someone being able to show that you could bend and, get around defenders. He was in the 99th percentile. He ran a 4.7, which, sure, it's not 4.5, but 4.7 for defensive end is more than good enough. And everyone looks at Travon Walker's 40 time, and like, I get it's a 4.5, but I don't care.
At 270.
I don't care that much about your 40 as a defensive end. Like, I don't want you running a 5.2, but if you run a 4.7, like, that doesn't really bother me too much. That's more than good enough, especially because Hutchinson's a big guy too. He's 260, I want to say. He's 2 inches taller than Travon.
I think he's 255.
255, 260 around then. And we tend to like fall in love with these guys at the combine who put up these ridiculous numbers. I was talking to Drew in the way of the car. Ezekiel Ansah is someone who comes up who had a ridiculous combine, went 5th overall to the Jaguars to the Lions and didn't end up working out.
265 apparently.
I think Travon Walker is going to be better than Zeke Ansah because obviously he ended up being a bust. But I worry about these athletic freaks who shoot up the draft board and now all of a sudden he's in discussion for number 1. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson was clearly the better player in college. He had more production overall. He had a higher pass win rate, a higher pressure percentage. He had 14 sacks, 51 hurries, which were both 4th across college football. Walker had 5 sacks and 20 hurries. And the one thing that people like to talk about too with Travon Walker is he drops back into coverage. He dropped back in 26 snaps. It's 4% of his snaps last year were dropped into coverage. So, like, I know there's highlights of him breaking up passes and everything, but he wasn't doing that at Georgia State. For the most part, he wasn't dropping back in coverage and, like, being this Isaiah Simmons type of role. That's not what he is. He's still raw as a pass rusher. So I would just take Hutchinson, who is still a ridiculous athlete. He would, obviously having the great 3-cone, he had a great broad jump, I want to say, as well. He has all the physical ability to be there, but he also has the production to back it up, which Travon Walker doesn't.
I want you to go because I have a little similar opinion. And I don't know where you stand.
Trent Bulk is somebody who's known for drafting guys who have physical traits over production. He drafted Aldon Smith. He drafted Eric Armstead. He drafted DeForest Buckner. And at the time, those guys were all looked at as overdrafted. And he sees Travon Walker as somebody who is similar to Aldon Smith in terms of the physical traits that they both possess. Now, Travon Walker is a physical specimen. And I think that it wouldn't be the craziest thing to draft a number 1 because he has those traits and he possesses those traits. And under the right coaching staff, he can develop into one of the better pass rushers in the NFL. You talk about the 40-yard dash that he ran, like a 4.51, a 6.89 second 3-cone drill, like that's wide receiver stuff that he's doing.
He's unbelievably
at
athletic.
6'5", 272 pounds, and a 4.32 20-yard shuttle. The production isn't there. Also on a loaded Georgia defense, which can either help him or hurt him. It goes both ways. It helps him because it gives him more one-on-ones. It hurts him because there's more guys that you're competing with for that production. But it wasn't even bad. Like 6 sacks, 2 passes deflected, 7.5 tackles for loss on 596 defensive snaps. And he played on multiple sides of the field. He played on the inside. He played on the edge. He dropped back into coverage some.
Hutchinson played on the inside his freshman year of college too.
And like he's proven he can do multiple things. He's versatile. I struggle with this because of the Jaguars. I don't know if there's a person on the Jaguars who I can fully trust develop somebody like Travon Walker who needs developing, needs to have more pass rushing moves into his arsenal. I feel like if he lands with the Jets, we're talking about one of the top pass rushers in the draft. With the Jets, with Robert Saleh, his track record in developing talent, defensive talent, I think is there. I do think with a guy like Josh Allen in Jacksonville, he could definitely learn a lot from, but I'm not sure if the coaching staff is there to fully develop him. Aiden Hutchinson is the safe pick, and you're right. It's 6'7". What is he? 6'7", 260 pounds.
He's 265.
Although he doesn't have like a cone drill of wide receiver like
in the
Travon
99th
Walker.
Percentile
Yeah.
for 3-cone.
His
3-cone was just as good.
He's as athletic as like tight ends. Like great tight ends.
His 3-cone was legitimately just as good as Travon Walker's.
It was
Better.
Yeah, Hutchinson had a 6.73, and Travon Walker
And I'm
had a
sorry,
6.89.
it wasn't his broad jump that was great. It was his short shuttle, which was 96th percentile.
Like Aiden Hutchinson is also a freak athlete. The problem with him is that he doesn't have that elite bend.
His problem
that people look at.
He has
That's
elite
true.
bend.
No, Travon.
Oh,
saying.
sorry.
No, I was talking about Aiden.
No, he has elite bend.
The bend isn't all the way there.
I mean,
Because I was going to say Travon's, that's like one of his bigger knocks that he doesn't have.
He was 99th
great bend.
percentile on 3-cone, which shows off your bend.
I mean, most of the draft analysts are talking about his bend not being the best. It's not as what I'm talking about when I'm talking about that is like it's not as elite as guys that came out before him.
Well, yeah, no. If you
like it's
compare him
not
to
Chase
the
Young,
Bosa's,
it's not
agreed.
Bosa,
Yes.
it's not
Yes.
TJ
100%.
Watt level, JJ Watt level. He doesn't
agree.
have that level bend.
He doesn't.
Which is why people question if he can be an elite pass rusher in the NFL.
Travon just had the 4.5 40, and that's what everyone's going to look at. But if you look at Hutchinson's numbers across the board, he stacks up just about in everything when it comes to Walker.
So can I ask you guys, is this draft class weak?
It is weak at the top. It is.
Yeah. You know how there's like superstar X factors in Madden?
Mm-hmm.
There's maybe like 1 or 2.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And you don't think that they're in the top 5, top 10? Or do you think that these superstar X factors are like?
I'm just saying, like compared to previous years, like last year, there might have been like 5.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I don't know. I feel like Aiden Hutchinson, he dominated this year in Michigan, and he was a huge reason why Michigan had the success that they did. Travon, to both your guys' points, is a physical nightmare. The fact that he is 275 and can run a 4.5, I can only reiterate it so many times. It's insane to think about. But Hutchinson has the production. He has the tools to get to the quarterback with still being a physical freak of his own. I'm in the similar thought process with you of he is the safer pick. You need to take the safe guy, especially as the Jaguars. You cannot put this team in a situation where they have to worry about personnel and developing them. You want to draft guys that are coming in and are talented, because right now you use the number 1 draft pick on Trevor Lawrence, and it seems as if he needs development now. You can't have another number 1 overall pick that's not going to be 100% soundproof.
I don't think the safe pick's not a problem. It's just a number 1 overall pick who's a project is more the issue. Like if you want to go with a guy who has the high upside, but at least he's like has some production. Like Travon has some, but he's probably one of the biggest projects at number 1 that we've seen in recent memory.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the bigger issue I have with Walker, because I still think he should be a top 10 pick without a doubt. Like he has physical tools. Someone's going to take
It's
a chance.
looking like a lock that he's guaranteed a top 10 pick.
ESPN Analytics said like top 3, 99% chance he goes in the top 3.
Yeah.
So that's either to the Jaguars, the Texans, or the Lions.
Texans, I could see.
Come on, man.
I think the Lions take edge rusher too.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, we talked. They don't need offensive line, so they're probably gonna go edge.
Yeah.
Just do like Kayvon. Do they like? I mean, listen, if Hutchinson's there, they're gonna jump all
question
over it.
really quick. You're saying speed isn't something that you look for out of an edge, but we see Micah and his ability to be that type of hybrid. Do you think that he's going to start to become something that is the mold of what you want out of your edge slash, you know what I'm saying?
No, because if you take a player number 1 overall, I want him rushing the passer 90% of the time. I'm not taking a player number 1 overall to cover tight ends.
Would you take Micah number 1 overall this year?
If you're saying like redraft?
Yes. I'm saying this. No, I'm just saying if Micah was available this season, knowing
he's
that
easily
he has
the best prospect in this draft.
Knowing that he has the ability. I'm saying now that we have hindsight.
As a prospect, you're probably still putting Hutchinson over him.
I'm saying now that we have hindsight and
I think so, bro.
we've
Yes.
seen Micah's what he can do on the field, right? We are taking this into account for what this scenario I'm drawing up. Would you take Micah number 1?
Well, I would just use Mike as a pass rusher then, yeah, because he's obviously a better pass rusher.
I mean, he's good at both.
He is. But if I'm taking a player number 1, it's nice to have the ability to drop him in coverage, but you're taking him number 1 to get after the quarterback.
But as a prospect, though, Micah's out of college is better than Aiden.
He was a great prospect. I'm not sure if he's better than Aiden because he wasn't in the conversation for 1.
And Aiden was dominant this season too.
Wait,
I don't want to
why
disrespect
wasn't
him.
Micah in the conversation for 1? Is that what you're
He
asking?
wasn't even. What did he get picked?
12.
12. I was say it was 13, but I guess different because there's quarterbacks.
It would have been 10 or what was it 10?
It was 12 because they traded back.
with the Eagles.
They traded back.
Yeah.
It was one of those. But I mean, it's because of the quarterback.
No,
it was quarterback
for
heavy
sure,
draft.
for sure.
I mean, you had Trevor, you had Zach, you had Trey, then you had Pitts, then you had Jamar, then you had Waddle, then you had Penei. Like
J.C. Horn. The Broncos could have drafted Micah, But we went with Surtain.
Outside of Pat Surtain, like all those guys that went above Micah would probably have a case to be number one this draft.
You're right.
Like without a doubt. That's why I think like Micah and
Why
plus
not Surtain?
Because I don't know if you
Horn
take
also?
I don't think you
Yeah,
take
you don't take
I don't
corner.
think you take
So
a corner
Horn
first.
and Surtain,
Yeah.
both of them.
I don't think
saying.
you take a corner first. That's why. But Micah
I don't disagree.
Micah at Penn State had a lot of pass rushing snaps.
I have a
too.
question. If you're the Jags, do you contemplate taking Sauce at 1?
No.
Nah.
That's a strong, honest question because Sauce, it's looking like he's locked top 5.
I wouldn't take him 1.
They invested so much
Especially
into the cornerback position.
Oh, they have Shaquille Griffin. I apologize.
and Tyson Campbell. They drafted in the second round last year.
Facts.
Yeah, that's why I don't think they do that. I feel like the top 3 picks are probably going to be edge.
Yeah.
Outside of the Texans, like they probably draft Icky or Evan Neal, but like I think the Lions go edge. They already have offensive line.
Texans could go defense, and it wouldn't shock me at all.
Yeah, but I feel like if they really want to build around Davis Mills, they should
I
probably
agree.
go
Definitely.
with an
Help
offensive
solidify
player.
the offensive line.
Yeah, because they only have Laramie Tunsil there.
Evan Neal
For the
makes
most
sense.
part.
Evan Neal's right tackle.
He played left. He could play left and right.
Okay.
And guard.
And I feel like in this
Play anything.
situation with Laramie Tunsil, you put him at right tackle, it would fit perfect. You get both the sides covered up. That's fine with me.
Yeah. I'm surprised that the tackles aren't in play with number. I know early in the season it was in play. I don't know why tagging Cam Robinson changes everything. Because I think we kind of get it confused. Like you draft for this season, yes, but you're also drafting especially top 5. Like you're looking at the next 5 to 10 years. You know, obviously Hutchinson or Walker, whoever you have, is going to have a big impact. But if you could also get your franchise left tackle, because if you're tagging Cam Robinson a couple years in a row, you're probably saying he's probably not our franchise guy. He's just good enough for now. If you get an elite tackle at 1, just as valuable. I'm just curious why it's not in the conversation.
I like the combination of Aiden and Josh Allen more than I do getting a tackle.
Yeah, it's a great duo for sure.
I think I like that more.
That sounds scary.
Yeah.
Get after the quarterback.
With the defense getting a bit, Jaguars defense isn't abysmal. They just were always on the field. Like they have talent defensively, and if they add somebody like Aiden Hutchinson, yeah, they can.
So
be
who do you
one of
guys?
the
Who
better
do you think
defenses.
goes 1, Hutchinson or Travon?
I think Hutchinson goes 1.
I don't know. I don't want to rule out the Jaguars.
They're a wild card, man.
They took Luke
Jaguars.
Jocko.
They did.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Not the best look.
No.
I don't know.
I also think Hutchinson goes 1, but again, I'm not sold.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's your decision?
I'll just
man?
say Hutchinson, but like I don't know.
Mhm.
I feel like they can go in multiple directions.
They could.
What if they
Draft's
go
coming
Kyle
up, man. It's
Hamilton?
Yeah,
crazy.
2 weeks.
I
If they go Kyle Hamilton, I'll throw up. Surge
That
is
would be
gonna have. Oh
shocking.
my God, Surge would have. God, I don't really
he'd
want
be
to.
hype.
I don't even
You know
want to
that
think about
safety's
it.
actually, in terms of wins above replacement, quarterback is number 1, wide receiver is number 2, safety's number 3.
Interesting.
So that means like safety is technically the third most valuable position in terms
For
of
edge,
for wins.
that's nuts.
Yeah.
Disagree. Screw the stats.
I mean, Kyle Hamilton, man, he's gonna be a Jet.
Let's talk about it.
He's gonna be a Jet.
You want to talk about Kyle Hamilton?
No, I just want to do a redraft.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with that.
Let's get into the redraft. So we're gonna redraft the 2021 NFL draft, one of the more stacked draft classes in recent memory. And now we're going to redraft it. A lot of quarterbacks at the top that didn't have the greatest of rookie of seasons. So we're going to see if they do make the cut as being in this top 3 again. So we're going to play rock, paper, scissors, and shoot to see who gets the first pick.
Let's do it.
2 out of 3 or just...
Nah, just one game. Whoever wins, we'll play the other, and then whoever wins that gets the first pick.
Okay, so who's going first?
All three of
Oh.
Yeah, and
rock,
then
paper,
whoever
scissors.
wins is good. And then,
Facts.
okay.
All right.
All right, rock, paper, scissors says shoot.
Says shoot.
You said
Okay.
rock, paper, scissors, says
Says
shoot?
shoot. All right, here we go.
Not set.
Set. All right, come on. Says. Here we go.
Rock, paper, scissors, says shoot.
We all right. 3
It's a
tie. Here we
three-way
go.
tie.
Rock, paper, scissors, says shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, says shoot.
Unbelievable,
Oh,
man. This is crazy.
Rock, paper, scissors, says shoot.
All
Okay,
right, me and Joel. Here we go. Joel, excuse me.
Rock, paper, scissors, says shoot.
First
I knew-
overall
I knew it was
pick.
gonna
Here we
be
go.
paper, bro.
Here we
Damn.
go. Here we go.
I need to pull up the drop.
Put me on the clock. Ding, 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 bada-bang, bang, bang. And I will make my pick right away because there is no hesitation. I don't care this season that he put up or people, the naysayers, the doubters on his name. The number 1 overall pick for the Jacksonville Jaguars is going to still be Trevor Lawrence, the highest touted prospect coming into the NFL. I still believe in Trevor Lawrence, and I feel like even still, I understand that Micah Parsons and the fact that they need defense is definitely a factor that I'm keeping into my mind. However, there's no quarterback that they would take that would put them in a position to be successful in this draft, in this current draft that we're going into, excuse me. So I'm 100% Trevor Lawrence, and there's no doubt in my mind.
Oh, this one is pretty simple for me. With the second overall pick in this 2021 redraft, the Jets are still selecting Zach Wilson.
Respect, brother.
Because Zach Wilson is the GOAT, ultimately. He's good. And he's going to be the best quarterback in this draft class. And if I had the first pick, I'd take him too.
I understand.
I would take him too.
Because you like him a lot, but I still believe in Trevor, and he still has all the intangibles to be great.
So 49ers are up next.
Come on, this is an easy pick.
It is an easy pick. Everyone, I'm a huge Trey Lance fan. He's a superstar in the making, but the third overall pick, it's Jamar Chase. You get an elite wide receiver on the outside, pair him with Ayuk and George Kittle. Who knows? Maybe they beat the Rams in the conference chip. Conference chip?
Yeah.
Why am I?
I don't know.
I guess it's both sports, right?
Yeah.
It's both for basketball, too. I don't know why I was thinking NBA, but yeah, Jamar Chase.
All right. Put my music, please.
The fourth pick in the draft, the Falcons select.
Now, this is with hindsight in mind. We just saw Matt Ryan get traded. They're in desperate need of a franchise quarterback, and this is a quarterback class that was stacked. I am going with the fourth overall pick, Mac Jones.
Ooh.
Mac Jones is going to come in, and he's going to sit a season under Matt Ryan, take in a little bit more knowledge. Now that Matt Ryan's gone, he's going to take the reins, and they would still be depleted at wide receiver. Mac Jones would definitely be in a tough spot, but they're in a rebuild, and you get your franchise quarterback. That's the start of a rebuild.
I think Mac Jones is a good pick. Now, the Bengals, this is tricky for me. Now that Jamar Chase is off the board, I can't reunite Joe Burrow with Chase. Kyle Pitts looks intriguing. Micah Parsons looks intriguing. Rashawn Slater.
Come on.
Penei Sewell. With the fifth overall pick, the Cincinnati Bengals are selecting Rashawn Slater.
Ooh, I like it. I like it.
If I can't get Jamar Chase, I'm going with an all-pro tackle.
I respect it. I definitely don't hate the pick by any means. Kyle Pitts would be intriguing, especially for the fact that you're putting him with Joe Burrow and you still are focused heavily on that offense that was a huge part of the reason why they went to the Super Bowl. But I get it. I like the pick.
Now, with the sixth overall pick, the Miami Dolphins are selecting.
This is tough.
What are you going to do here, man?
This is tough. There's a few guys. I want Sewell, but I'm not taking him. It's between Waddle and Micah. I've seen what Waddle and Tua's connection is, how important wide receiver is. Jalen Waddle staying in Miami.
Respect. Okay. All right, hit my music, please. Now with the seventh overall pick, the Detroit Lions do already have a decent offensive line. And with now Penei Sewell, it was a borderline great offensive line. However, I understand that this defense needs some help, and I'm solidifying that with Micah Parsons at the number 7 selection.
Parsons is the pick that I would have went to too with the Lions. I would have went with. I think this is easy. This is really easy.
Panthers?
The Carolina Panthers, taking a corner was kind of a luxury for them. With the 8th overall pick in this redraft, the Panthers are selecting Penei Sewell.
Nice.
And getting better at that offensive line, in their offensive line.
Hey, bro, do you mind if we trade and I draft the Broncos? Thanks, man. All right, so with the number 9th overall.
If you get the Jets later, though.
Oh, done. So you're getting the 10th pick, right? Just understand.
Yeah.
You're getting the 10th pick, but then it's Joel's turn, and then it's you right after with 11.
Dude, we could just go around.
All right, fine. All right, so with the number 9 pick overall, the Denver Broncos are selecting, no doubt about it, Pat Surtain. We're talking about the best corner in this draft, especially with all the subtractions that we've had at the cornerback position this offseason. We need to solidify that cornerback 1 spot, and Pat Surtain's going to do that for years to come.
You're going next, Joe?
Correct. You're the Eagles. You're the Eagles, man.
Eagles are you just took Pat Surtain. That's an interesting pick. We got Philly here at 10. They could use a few different things, right? In real life, they went and took Devontae Smith. I love Devontae Smith, but I see Kyle Pitts on the board. I love Dallas Goedert, but Pitts, if you want to line him out wide, he played a ton in X. He played in the slot. He played in tight end. Get Jalen Hurts another weapon, a bigger body than Devontae Smith. Go get Kyle Pitts.
All right, I like it. You're up. Number 11, Bears.
So you have Kyle Pitts. You're selecting him?
10 overall, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. No way.
No way I was taking a quarterback, not with my guy Jalen Hurts there.
With the 11th overall pick, the Chicago Bears are selecting Trey Lance.
Oh, my goodness. That's so rude to Justin Fields, but I understand.
Trey Lance is better than Justin Fields.
He probably will be better. I like it. But I like it. I like it. I can't
like
complain.
to see his Shanahan and all the weapons.
Facts.
So
Facts.
he probably will.
Yeah. All right, your pick right now, Dallas.
Okay.
Yes.
Dallas is up. Real life, they took Micah Parsons. Obviously, I would say that's a pretty good pick. I'm not gonna lie. They could use some other help though. Where would they go in this situation?
This is easy.
This is easy for you.
Yep.
You taking Justin Fields?
Nope.
Okay. Looking at the board here, they could use some help on the offensive line. AVT's still there. Maybe a little early for a guard. The Jets took AVT 14 in real life, though, so maybe a little bit earlier than you would like. But get some help on the interior line. They've been dealing with injuries. They've been hurt. So I'll go with AVT, solidified guard.
I like it.
Is that who you would have went with?
Nope.
Who'd you have gone with before you hit my music? Even though
I'm going to pick them. That's why I'm
okay, all right. So my music hit. So now with the 13th overall pick, Los Angeles Chargers are going to select an offensive tackle because that was the main reason why Justin Herbert was in such hell his rookie season. They figured they'd bring in Rashawn Slater to solidify that offensive line. They 100% did. But since you took Rashawn Slater and you took Penei Sewell as well, I'm going to select Christian Darrisaw with the 13th overall pick.
Wow.
Oh, you got the Jets, you bastard.
Yeah. This is awesome because with the 14th overall pick, the New York Jets are selecting Creed Humphrey, the best center in football, which is what Dallas should have did. But he slipped, and I got him.
No, you're right. They should have. They should have 100%.
Yep.
And I understand you taking him. I couldn't take Creed Humphrey because they signed Corey Linsley in the offseason. So there was no reason for me to take a center, but I'm happy with Darrisaw.
You have the Pats.
I'm up.
Yep, you have the Pats.
Am I getting my music? Thank you, bro. This is easy for me. Devontae Smith's still on the board. Go ahead, take Devontae Smith. Get your wide receiver one without a doubt. Better than Kendrick Bourne. That's to say the absolute least. So,
all right, Arizona Cardinals, hit my music, please. Now, this was an absolute come-up. At 16, Arizona Cardinals desperately need a cornerback. And J.C. Horn is right here for the taking, and that's exactly who I'm going to select. You add J.C. Horn to a definitely depleted secondary crew. You add him to next to Budda Baker. That's a little bit intriguing. And J.C. Horn is a great talent, no doubt about it, and Arizona would love him.
Now, with the 17th overall pick, I look at the Raiders roster. I feel like they need a couple things. They need a linebacker that is versatile, and there's some on the board that I would love to pick. They also need offensive line help. Now that they have Devontae Adams, I'm not looking at receiver. This is tough. It's between two guys for me, but I feel like let's give this defense some more help.
Okay.
I'm going with Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
All right.
With the 17th overall pick.
I like it a lot.
Who went 8 overall? I forgot to write it down.
Number 8
Panthers.
Overall.
Sewell.
Sewell.
Okay. Thank you.
Next up is the Miami Dolphins.
Miami again. Did I take Miami the first time? No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did. You had Waddle.
Here
You
we
kept
go.
him. You kept him. Yes.
Did I get my music? Did I miss that?
And
Okay. Miami. They could still use offensive line help. They need it desperately.
they do.
They could use. We got Waddle. We don't need a receiver again. Who am I taking here?
Tell you what, I don't mind the pick that they had in the real draft.
Mm-hmm.
But listen, it's your pick.
You took Creed Humphrey. You said right.
He took Creed Humphrey. Yep.
Creed. Okay. I still think offensive line would work here for them.
I agree.
If we're going back in time and pretending like they didn't, or at least this offseason they didn't go ahead and draft
Sign
yes, Armstead.
correct.
Yeah, I'm taking Trey Smith for them.
Okay. All right.
That's good.
All right. You could hit my music, please. So at the 19th overall pick, the Washington Now Commanders are going to be selecting Nick Bolton, linebacker. They ended up taking Jamin Davis, but Nick Bolton was definitely better this season, and they needed a linebacker, and Nick Bolton definitely was the better option. I'm sure that they would have preferred him.
Wow, so no quarterback here.
Washington ended up getting Carson Wentz. I don't really hate it. I guess Justin Fields would have been pretty solid.
Wish I had the Giants so I could shit on Daniel Jones.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but are we drafting like it was last season?
We're drafting it. I think we have to kind of look at it like last season. Huh?
See, so if that's the case, that's true. But that's fair. That's pretty fair. I'm still gonna go Nick Bolton. You got to solidify the defense. And Taylor Heineke, there was some, not a lot, but some decent expectation that he could be stable for the season. Fortunately, that wasn't the case, and now they have Carson Wentz.
With the 20th overall pick, The New York Giants are selecting Justin Fields.
Let's go.
This is a
Pair him up with Brian Dable. See what happens. Justin Fields is the pick for the Giants.
That's a good pick, man.
Damn. I was low key thinking about it at Indy here.
Yeah, you got another quarterback on the board.
Huh?
There's another quarterback on the board you could go with.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna go that way. Okay, let me.
Bro, you wouldn't take
Davis
Mills in the first round?
I don't know with Indy. I think I'd ride with Wentz going back in time here.
All right.
But Indy definitely needs another wide receiver. Let me get my music. They're taking Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore is going to Indy.
Love it. I love
He's
it.
going to Indy.
I love
explosive wide receiver. He could play in the slot. He could also play outside if he wanted to. He's an electric wide receiver.
I'll tell you what. I am angry because if I'm Tennessee, I would absolutely love and adore Elijah Moore. But here I am, Tennessee Titans. You can hit my music, please. With the 22nd overall pick, Tennessee Titans are in fact going to select, in a shocking fashion, Rashad Bateman. They need another X-Factor type receiver, and I'm not saying that Rashad Bateman is an X-Factor type receiver. However, in a situation where you'd have A.J. Brown, Rashad Bateman is capable of getting open down the field, and that would benefit this offense tremendously, especially with Julio not being a reliable option. You would have loved to have Rashad Bateman on this roster last season. And so I'm going with Rashad Bateman.
Now, with the 23rd overall pick, the Minnesota Vikings are selecting Eric Stokes. Solidify the cornerback position, pair him up with Patrick Peterson, Cameron Dantzler. Need some more cornerback help. I think Eric Stokes has to be the pick here.
Okay, all right.
Steelers up next.
Steelers up next. In real life, they took Najee Harris, and I do like Najee Harris, but what happened?
I folded, boys.
I do like Najee Harris, but I'm not a believer in running back in round one. I think you guys should know this. They need some offensive line help for sure, especially going back in time. I don't think. Let me just double check. You didn't take him before.
I folded.
You didn't take Landon Dickerson, did you?
Nope.
I'm gonna go ahead and take Landon Dickerson.
Okay.
Go ahead, solidify that interior offensive line. They patched it up a lot this offseason, but going into this draft, I thought they should go offensive line here. Instead, they went Najee.
All right, hit my music. With righting my wrongs, 100% at pick 25, the Jacksonville Jaguars made one of the biggest mistakes in draft night last year, drafting Travis Etienne when they already had James Robinson, who was electric, can do everything for them at the running back position. But I'm fixing that. At number 25, I'm going with Amon-Ra St. Brown, giving Trevor Lawrence a true number one wide receiver to solidify that spot for Trevor Lawrence for years to come.
That's a good pick. Now, the Browns at pick 26, they're selecting Jalen Phillips.
Ooh,
and solidifying
really?
that edge rushing presence.
I don't mind the Greg Newsome selection in last year's draft.
Myles Garrett, Jalen Phillips.
Yeah,
I'm rocking
dirty,
with that duo.
dirty.
I'm rocking with that duo.
I agree. All right, Joel. 27. Baltimore
27.
Ravens.
Oh, my squad, Baltimore. This is interesting. You took him. All right. Damn. Receivers flew off the board.
They did.
Yeah.
I got two of them really fast.
Yeah, I was looking. This is what they really need still is wide receiver. They could have used some help on defense, but are we assuming the defense stayed healthy last year? Let's just assume that they got injured, right? Assume that secondary still got banged up. I believe this man is still on the board. Correct me if I'm wrong. Greg Newsome? Still on the board? I'll go ahead and take Greg Newsome.
I like
Stealing him from
like
division rival Cleveland.
All right, hit my music. This is an easy selection. Now, with the 28th overall pick, the New Orleans Saints are selecting Davis Mills, quarterback. New Orleans Saints are in a position where they do have Jameis Winston as their quarterback right now, but last season, with Jameis Winston going out to injury, they definitely wanted to have a backup option that they didn't have. You had, oh my goodness, I'm blanking on his name. The running back, tight end. Oh my goodness, help me out. Taysom Hill. Thank you very much. Sorry, sometimes I just blank. Taysom Hill, who really just couldn't be a consistent quarterback option for them. Now you have Davis Mills, who showed flashes with the Texans, stepping in a role that was expectations that really could never be met, given the fact that Deshaun Watson is as great as he is. Davis Mills to the Saints makes a lot of sense here.
With the 29th overall pick, the Green Bay Packers are selecting Asante Samuel Jr.
Love it.
Cornerback, I'm going with it again. They went with Eric Stokes in the real draft. Asante Samuel, I think, still goes in the first round. Should go in the first round.
30th. Damn. I'm going against my greater good. I don't believe in running backs in the first round, but I see Buffalo.
Need him.
I see Javonte Williams on the board over Najee.
Yes.
This is a luxury pick for Buffalo, who has tons of pieces. Get them another great piece on offense. Give me Javonte.
I love it. I absolutely love and adore it. So now, you can hit my music. With the number 31 overall pick, the Baltimore Ravens are going to select Azeez Ojulari, outside linebacker. This defense desperately needed some help, and Azeez Ojulari is going to seal that. He had 8 sacks this season, 13 quarterback hits. A great selection for them.
This bastard got both the Jets picks.
Now, with the 32nd pick in the 2021 NFL redraft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are selecting Javon Holland.
I was going to say, he's the one name I'm looking at like, damn, he didn't get picked.
Javon Holland.
Baltimore Ravens probably would have loved Javon Holland, but they just got Marcus Williams. I'm sure they're not too upset.
So it looks like in the first round, Najee didn't go, Etienne didn't go, Kwity Paye, Caleb Farley. There was a good amount.
Caleb Farley was someone that I definitely was looking at, but the injuries scared me off.
But basically everyone, did Zayvon Collins, did we take Zayvon Collins? I don't think so. Everyone in the top 15 got drafted again.
So basically, to recap our 2021
Trey
NFL
Smith's
redraft.
the only offensive lineman that's really good that should have gotten drafted.
I drafted him, I believe.
Oh, you did? I
I
apologize.
did with Miami at 18.
Nice. Love it.
To recap the 2021 NFL redraft, we're going to basically reiterate the picks that we made. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know how it goes.
I do.
So this is our 2021 NFL redraft. We know people are going to disagree heavily. But start, Drew. Who's the number 1 overall pick?
Number 1 overall pick, just like last year, it's going to be Trevor Lawrence, 100%.
Number 2 overall pick, the Jets are still selecting Zach Wilson because he's going to be the best quarterback in this draft.
Number 3 is Jamar Chase over Trey Lance, even though he'll be a superstar one day.
The Atlanta Falcons at number 4 are going to select Mac Jones because they need their franchise guy.
At number 5, with no Jamar Chase, the Bengals now select Rashawn Slater, get an all-pro tackle, pair up with Jonah Williams. Got to help Joe Burrow in pass protection.
Number 6, Miami Dolphins, sticking with Jalen Waddle, fits perfectly with Tua's scheme.
At number 7, the Detroit Lions are going to select Micah Parsons to be that game changer on defense for them.
At number 8, the Panthers select Penei Sewell, now have Penei Sewell, Taylor Martin. That's a pretty good tackle duo. The Panthers should have went with tackle, I believe, when they first had this pick. Rashawn Slater was on the board. They passed up on him.
Joel was so kind to pass the Denver Broncos off to me, and I made the selection at number 9, consistent with what the Broncos did last year. Pat Surtain, this is a lock. The number 1 corner in this draft without a doubt.
Number 10, the Eagles, instead of going with Devontae Smith, they go with Kyle Pitts, a bigger body. He could play X, slot, inline. He could do it all.
At pick number 11, the Chicago Bears don't go Justin Fields, but they go with Trey Lance.
Okay, Joel, this is you.
12, Dallas solidifies interior offensive line, AVT.
All right, and number 13, the Los Angeles Chargers are selecting Christian Darrisaw because they do need offensive line as well.
And at pick 14, the Jets select Creed Humphrey, help out Zach Wilson on that interior of the offensive line.
15, New England finally goes offense. Devontae Smith get a real number 1 receiver.
And that's electric. That would be electric. Now, at number 16, Arizona Cardinals are lucky enough and fortunate enough to have J.C. Horn fall all the way to them at number 16.
And at 17, the Raiders select Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, help out that defense and their pass coverage a bit.
18, Miami took Jalen Waddle earlier. Now they're beefing up the interior line. Trey Smith is one of the biggest steals in this past draft class. This draft, he goes 18 overall.
Washington shockingly passes on Justin Fields and selects Nick Bolton, linebacker, to help that front 7.
At number 20, the New York Giants have given up on Daniel Jones.
Tragically.
And they select Justin Fields paired up with Brian Dable. Could be very explosive.
Be the best pick in the draft. At 21, the Indianapolis Colts go with Elijah Moore. Desperately need a wide receiver opposite of Michael Pittman. They get one.
And that pick would be absolutely electric. I love that pick. Number 22, Tennessee Titans. I made a mistake, no doubt. I should have took Amon-Ra here, but instead I go for size, I go for athleticism, and I take Rashad Bateman with that upside, pairing him next to A.J. Brown.
At pick 23, the Vikings still need cornerback help. I'm going with Eric Stokes.
24, the Steelers took Najee in real life. This time to take Landon Dickerson.
Okay, and number 25, the Jacksonville Jaguars completely right their wrongs of drafting Travis Etienne and select Amon-Ra St. Brown to pair with Trevor Lawrence.
At pick 26, the Browns could have went corner once again, but I want to beef up my pass rush. So I'm going with Jalen Phillips, pair up with Myles Garrett. That's a dangerous sight.
27, Baltimore Ravens dealt with injuries in the secondary. They steal Greg Newsome, who was drafted by Cleveland. Now they get him.
At number 28, the New Orleans Saints shock the world and take Davis Mills as their quarterback.
And with the 30th pick, with the 29th pick, the Packers select Asante Samuel Jr.
The 30th pick, going completely off-brand, the Buffalo Bills take the running back 1 of this class, Javonte Williams.
I'll tell you what, and that might be the single-handed best pick of this draft, if I'm going to be honest with you. Buffalo gets an X-Factor running back. They're a scary team. Now, number 31, the Baltimore Ravens are going to draft Azeez Ojulari to help solidify that defense.
And with the last pick in the first round of the 2021 NFL redraft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Javon Holland.
Tell you what, this was a lot of fun.
Nice,
this is a great draft.
Maybe we'll do it again. Who knows?
Maybe.
Mock draft? What?
What?
Mock draft next week?
Yo.
Maybe.
Draft season 2 weeks away, man.
Can't wait,
2 weeks.
Can't wait.
Does Sam Darnold go number 1 in the 2018 redraft?
Oh, Sam Darnold might go 101.
Honest question. Leave a comment in the comment section below if you believe that we should live stream the draft. We really want to take in your analysis. You let us know if you think that we should come together and watch the draft with y'all.
So that's going to do it for episode 171 of the Pick a Side Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Pick a Side Podcast, on Twitter at Pick a Side Pod. Thank you guys for listening and or watching. You can also buy merchandise at pickasidepodcast.com. Got a lot of different colors and hoodies and t-shirts. Thank you for listening and or watching, and we'll see you next time.